Hi, everybody, and welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, and with me, as always, is my co-host and teenage son, Jackson. Say hello, Jack.
Episode 9, folks.
Episode 9. Welcome, everybody. So, you're done a full week of school now. Thoughts? Concerns?
Felt nice to sleep in. Well, actually, I woke up at, around the time we would wake up for school.
And went back to sleep?
Yeah.
This is a new skill for you. That's great.
And I'm currently on the hunt for a belt.
Mom thought that you had gotten up and then gone back to bed, so that's good.
Yeah, and I'm currently looking for a belt.
Yes, you're missing your smoking skull belt that we want to
figure
look for.
belt, yeah. And I just thought of it, and I might use it for something, and now I want to look for it. I was looking for a couple days, and then once we started school, I know I just kind of didn't, but I'm gonna probably look once we're done.
All right. Well, my work week was really long, but I really enjoyed some wrestling this week.
It's only Saturday.
I know, right? So I enjoyed some wrestling very much this week, so we'll get into talking about that, I suppose, if you don't have anything else in the banter section you'd like to discuss.
No, not really.
All right, so let's move into our first segment, which is news and rumors. And the first thing we usually look at are the ratings for the previous week. So this was the first night that NXT and AEW have gone head-to-head after 4 weeks of sort of altered schedules where they were not on the same nights. So this was nice. It's direct competition again to see where we stand. So pretty definitively, AEW won the ratings battle this week and by a decent margin, yes. So AEW averaged 886,000 viewers and earned a .34 in the 18 to 49 demographic, which put them third in that demographic, which is good. NXT averaged 689,000, so almost 200,000 fewer viewers averaged, and a .18 in that key demographic, which put them at 31st, so well behind in both areas. So a clear win by AEW Dynamite, and I mean, I feel
this
like
could further cement that WWE might be moving the NXT to Tuesdays.
I think they probably will, because they're just getting beaten every week, and if they're on separate nights, they'll pick up some viewers, right? Because people don't have to decide then. So I think they probably will move.
Right.
But we'll see.
It's probably a smarter move.
Anything from your end?
So obviously, we had Miro debuting for AEW.
We did.
Last week. News report in that Aiden English reportedly wants an AEW contract, which is interesting. I mean, he's kind of an underrated talent, so it wouldn't be a terrible pickup, but we'll see. And I would wonder if then they would do sort of a Rusev Day team, maybe.
Yeah, he somehow made that Vaudevillains thing work, which was a strange gimmick, and it was actually very cool in NXT, as everything is, and then it goes to main roster and becomes a joke.
See,
basically.
yeah, I never saw them in NXT, so I just assumed they were this new team, and then they were just totally stupid.
And then Gotch was not a pleasant human, is what the reports were, I think, and was sort of let go.
And then he was out of there, very quickly, too. They were only there for, a couple months.
But yeah, Aiden English, he for the character he was given, he did a pretty good job of it, so who knows?
And he actually had good vocals for that singing character.
He did. So. I don't know if AEW needs any more people right now. Their roster's decent
pretty
size
good
already.
Yeah.
Speaking of rosters, the only other thing I wanted to mention was the G1 Climax G1 tournament in New Japan. They've set their roster and their 2 blocks. So let me see what we've got here. This is an amazing tournament. I probably just won't have time to watch it. I will sometimes look through reviews and cherry pick the best matches, and we'll sort of check them out maybe. So Block A, Block A, we've got Kota Ibushi, Jeff Cobb, Kazuchika Okada, Tomohiro Ishii, one of my favorites, Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi, Minoru Suzuki, Taichi, Jay White, one of your favorites, and Yujiro Takahashi. So that
sounds like a pretty good field.
That is
Okada and
that's a
Jeff
super
Cobb's
stacked block.
Yeah.
With you got Ibushi, Okada, Ishii in there. That's a Jay White. That's a very strong block.
Yeah.
B block, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Juice Robinson, Haruki Goto, Toru Yano, Yoshihashi, Tetsuya Naito's in that one, Sonata, Zack Sabre Jr., Kenta, and Evil. So on the surface, that one doesn't seem quite as strong.
Yeah, there's potential there. But
I mean, they've got Tanahashi,
it doesn't
Naito,
seem like a bad block, but doesn't seem as
stacked as A.
Right.
Because Naito would probably be the big star in the B block. You've got, I mean, I really like watching Sonata most times. So
I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get no Archer or Moxley, but I think it's I don't know what their contract is like, if they're allowed to do that still, and obviously they can't travel.
Travel restrictions. They were wondering who the foreign wrestlers would be in the tournament, right? Just wondering. So they got a nice bunch. And obviously it's always nice to have Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay, right? Yeah. Just a couple different styles.
I was never into Zack Sabre Jr., just especially what we saw in the CWC.
He wasn't my favorite either, but people love him.
Yeah, I can see people liking him, but just again,
and maybe we're coming around on it because he's similar idea to Thatcher a little bit, right? And we're enjoying Thatcher. Yeah,
but I think Thatcher's character is also interesting, so I think that helps.
Well, and Thatcher's just looks bigger, stronger, meaner, right? So it's just a little bit more realistic. But anyways, it should be an exciting tournament. It always is. There'll be some unbelievable matches in there. So maybe we'll see if we end up talking about any on the podcast. I just wanted to sort of go over the blocks. And do you have anything else for news?
I don't know how much truth there is to this, but Jeff Hardy is reportedly on his last chance at WWE. Obviously, after many
his last chance.
Many screw ups with
various
alcohol,
things,
drugs, whatever, right?
As they say, his demons. In the wrestling word, they love to say that, battling demons.
I do hope he's finally on a clean slate because it's you don't know you never want to see wrestlers in that state.
I just he's not my favorite, and part of it is that history. I sometimes feel like like
he's been there for so long. Even if he does screw up again, he might stick around.
And honestly, WWE, you could just use wrestlers that don't have 1,000 issues in the past, right? Like I'm all for second chances and stuff, but there's probably some young wrestler that could use a spot that hasn't violated whatever policies you have 10 times.
For sure.
But bottom line, I hope he's healthy and well and clean, right? Because that's what would be best for him.
Especially after the incident at TNA Victory Road 2011.
Yes, he was not ready to work that match, shall we say.
Yeah. Yes. Next, kind of an interesting one, and as fans of him, a little disappointing for us, I guess. Pete Dunne has a new role in WWE as an NXT UK producer.
Interesting.
Which, good for him, but he's such a good talent. I feel like this is kind of a waste.
And so I'm wondering if he's not healthy or something because he's super young. It's not like he's 45. The guy's like 25, right?
Right.
And he's incredible.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if this is just a temporary thing until I honestly don't know what his status is, but it seems bizarre that he would not be wrestling if he is capable of wrestling because he's amazing.
Yeah, maybe it's just it might
in
just
the meantime, right? I don't know.
I certainly hope so because he is truly the special talent. Just
any
the way he works.
Any high profile match he's ever had has been fantastic, basically, right? So I'm a big fan. I own the T-shirt.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yep.
But yeah, so an interesting one and a little disappointing if it's permanent.
Right. I would agree.
Yeah. I have a typo that says secretary, but Luke Gallows secretly worked indie shows while under WWE contract.
Ooh.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. Vince won't like that.
No, but I guess there's not much he can do about that because obviously he's under a contract with Impact as Doc Gallows.
Although I would possibly argue that Gallows barely works even when he's working these days. So he's fairly limited as a big man now. He's getting up there in age, right? I mean, anyway. And just on a side note, I think the Good Brothers possibly have the worst wrestling theme in the business right now. You'll have to check it out later because I don't subject you to Impact.
Their Omen in the Skies theme that they had in WWE was actually pretty.
Their theme now is the most contrived, like just ridiculous. They were clearly going for a certain sound, and it's just I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's too much.
Yep.
I can't stand
it. Saving perhaps best for last is WWE has reportedly come to an agreement with Melina to make a return.
I did see that. I was thinking of adding that in my half of the news.
And, this is actually interesting. I've never seen one of her matches, but I've always heard good things.
She was decent in the ring. Her character work was really good with Eminem. I love that tag team with Mercury and, oh my goodness, Morrison. Nitro, yes. Tag team was awesome. The way they presented was awesome, and she was a big part of their presentation, right?
Yeah.
I'd say she's stronger as a character than a wrestler, but she's not a bad wrestler for sure.
Right. One of the women's wrestlers at the time was less diva, more of women's.
Yes, she was kind of straddling that line to me. She was like a bridge from the divas that really couldn't do anything into the ladies later that can really wrestle now. Mm-hmm. So she was somewhere in the middle, but a welcome addition probably.
Yep. That's all I got for the news so that we can wrap that up.
All right. So our next segment will be something I'm really looking forward to this week and excited to talk about. And so you'll take the lead and I'll probably just gush about it as you're talking about it, which is this week's edition of AEW Dynamite. Go ahead.
Yeah, we actually had a pretty good show, but we'll talk about that at the end, I
Yep.
guess, when we grade
Yes,
it.
I won't.
This was a fairly good show. So a few things we knew going into this: the parking lot brawl, best friends, Proud and Powerful, and our opener was FTR vs. Jurassic Express.
Yes.
Non-title match, but obviously if Jurassic Express were to get the win, they would get a title
You think
shot.
they'd move to the front of the line?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they even said that.
Yeah, I believe
too.
they did too.
So no entrance for Jurassic Express. Young Bucks come out and super kick the ref. So
Right
yeah.
away. Again, we are heels. This is their new... I mean, it's a really quick way of doing this, right? Like, they're just jerks. They're just cocky jerks who can do what they want. Maybe they're even going to...
They've done. They used to do this.
And they could make it
nothing
even
new
worse
here.
if they want to factor in, like, they're part of the executive of this company, right? So really, it's going to be hard to stop them, I guess.
Right. Because they could do that. I think Cody can also do that if he wanted to, and Kenny. So maybe we could get a heel elite. I feel like that could be
because they put it
interesting.
out there, right? That those guys are sort of the executive. It's not like it's a secret or anything, so
Right.
it's possible.
Yeah, unless you've been living under a rock, you're not gonna.
Right.
You're not gonna be surprised by this. Then the Bucks leave. Camera follows them backstage. Matt throws stack of bills at Tony Khan. I guess to say, go ahead and fine us.
Yep.
Here you go.
It's that like cool heel, like we're paying in advance, sort of like we expect you to fine us. We really don't care. Like it's just to demonstrate how little they care about the money and being fined. They're
Yeah.
gonna do what they want.
They walk by FTR, and then FTR make their entrance out to the ring. Match starts with Jungle Boy versus Dax Harwood. After a bit of your opening counters and whatnot, Cash Wheeler tags in for the first time in the match. Takes control and tags in Dax again. Jungle Boy wrestles Dax down, hits a springboard arm drag, followed by more arm drags. So we see this a lot. So
yeah, it was like lucha style takedowns and stuff.
It always does look cool.
Yep.
So, but I do find it is kind of weird to think about 'cause when you can just do an arm drag and maybe get some more force on it. It's like a lot of just unnecessary acrobatics. It is cool, but just from a technical standpoint.
Yeah, it looks cool, but maybe not the most efficient way to do it, right?
Or practical,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Luchasaurus tags in for the first time, and Cash Wheeler tags in as well. FTR used dirty tactics to take control of Luchasaurus, and Cash Wheeler tags back in. So I guess Dax tagged in. I must have missed something.
They do a lot of tags. That's their thing, right?
Yeah,
Smart tag
and
team wrestling.
It's hard to keep track of everything.
Yep.
Luchasaurus fights back. Luchasaurus catches Dax's dive attempt with the slam.
It's impressive.
You said before this kind of like they shouldn't go to the top rope, I guess.
Right, like anytime they sort of deviate from their sort of keep your
mantra.
feet on the ground system, it sort of backfires on them, right? A lot of the time.
The only time I can think of where it works is that powerplex that
Yes.
I like. I don't
and
know,
even
it just
when they
looks
do
smooth.
climb the ropes, it's still not for anything spectacular. It's usually a pretty
Splash,
standard. 'Cause
elbow drop.
Yes, that's their thing.
Maybe an axe handle, something basic, right?
Right.
But
like an 80s
it's
offense.
not necessarily basic, but just their style, I guess.
Yep.
Jungle Boy tags in, flipping senton off the back of Luchasaurus by Jungle Boy. So he like jumps off the turnbuckles. He has his knees briefly on
Right.
Luchasaurus' shoulders, and then Luchasaurus's shoulders. Sorry, and then I don't even know what I just said.
He sort of pitches forward from there.
And then goes into like almost just a rolling senton.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was pretty nice. Back elbow by Dax Harwood, and then tags in Cash.
I had nasty back elbow, and I'm proud of myself because I called him Dax. I'm really trying to get their names correct, but it's really hard for me.
Nice.
But I'm getting there.
Double Hurricane Rana to FDR by Jungle Boy, and a scoop slam by Cash. Bow and arrow stretch by Cash is what they called it. Thank you, Excalibur. Releases hold, and then he releases hold. Dax tags in and snap suplex and a leg drop by Dax Harwood.
Again, I really like that combo. It's a couple simple moves, but strung together really quickly, right? And
to
it
do
looks
damage,
effective,
right?
which is what they do.
Cash tags in and a double team fireman's carry into the knees. I guess a gut buster.
Yep.
By FTR. Dax tags back in and a tandem suplex, it was called.
Yep.
By FTR.
I had a tandem front suplex, another simple but effective sort of move, right?
Yep. Chop by Dax. Cash tags back in. Cash misses a drop kick and hits legs off rope and hits head off mat. It kind of does like a front drop kick style. So he hits like his neck off the ground,
Right.
not like his face with a normal drop kick. Dax tags in and does a really good job of cutting off the hot tag but then a clothesline by Jungle Boy, and he gets the hot tag to Luchasaurus anyways. Luchasaurus drops Cash from a fireman's carry onto Dax. Choke slam followed by a standing moonsault for a near fall. Dax saves Cash from a Luchasaurus corner attack. Dax tags in. Luchasaurus reverses a double team and a Jungle Boy blind tag. Tornado kick by Luchasaurus followed by a charging lariat by Jungle Boy. And that, I thought, just for a clothesline, it looked really cool. Just he was like, and charges at him. Really
the action's really picking up here. You can tell even just by you calling it, but this is where things were starting to pick up.
Cash takes out Luchasaurus on the apron and a suplex by Dax. Cash tags back in, and Jungle Boy versus a slam into a near fall. Jumping double knee by Jungle Boy, which I thought was creative. Cool.
And this is my next note is I'm in watch mode now because I was starting to really get into it, and I know you're the point man on this, so I can just sort of, it's like I'm just going to mostly watch because it was getting really exciting here.
Dax tags back in and a roll up for a near fall by Jungle Boy. Dax reverses a crossbody for a near fall, and Luchasaurus and Cash Wheeler face off. Dax blindsides Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy roll up for a near fall. Small package by Jungle Boy for a near fall. Luchasaurus misses a dive on Cash and falls into the crowd. So Cash is near the barricade, moves out of the way.
Right.
Luchasaurus kind of swan dives onto a bunch of people.
He does. Like 7 or 8 guys over the barricade. Looked cool still.
Yep. JB hits I wrote hots instead of hits, so another typo there.
And JB, Jungle Boy.
Jungle Boy hits a suicide dive on Cash. A sunset flip by Jungle Boy, but Cash pulls on Dax's leg to reverse it so that he's on the pin, and then holds onto Dax's arm to get the pin. So FTR win with a cheap roll-up.
Right.
It was actually kind of cool because it was creative and just it made sense.
It was. My only criticism, and actually once I saw the replay it wasn't as bad, is I thought the ref kind of had to really not be looking at the finish, but when they showed the replay it looked a little better because sometimes the ref really has to not notice something super obvious in front of them and it looks kind of cheesy, but upon replay it looked better. So it was kind of, and other than that, I honestly thought this was a fantastic match. I super enjoyed it.
Really good. When you put 2 top tag teams together, this is what you get.
Yep. And FTR's established this brand, right, of this simple, crisp, effective offense combined with classic heel tactics, any shortcuts they can take.
And it's even better when they're facing a team like these fast-paced teams like Hangman and Omega, and then now Jurassic
Well,
Express.
and Jungle Boy's just such a mega baby face, right? That these.
And I think it was a similar thing with Hangman at All Out, right?
It's a great contrast. I love this match.
And everybody loves Luchasaurus, too.
I love the way FTR wrestles. I'm a sucker for it. And this match, I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah. It was a really good match, and I enjoyed it too. The finish I did kind of like, because I said, it was sort of fresh. It was something we've seen similar things to, but they did.
And that's sometimes how FTR is going to win, and that they're fine with that. Whether they're hitting the smash contraption or they're winning with a sneaky roll up, they're just going to win, right?
Yep. Next we had, I just wrote, Matt Hardy has been attacked.
Yeah, I had him laid out backstage.
Jericho and Hager come up. Jericho pretends to care and mocks Hardy in Private Party, because obviously we have that match.
Yeah, the only note I made was that I thought Jericho was kind of funny in the few seconds he got there.
Yeah, nothing much here, but just I guess you could say it was either Inner Circle to send a message, or I originally thought it might be Sammy Guevara to continue that feud, maybe.
Yeah, it was just a quick little thing, keeps the show moving, I guess.
Yeah. Next we had Hangman Page versus Frankie Kazarian.
With Kenny on commentary, right?
That's my first
Sorry.
note. No, it's fine. Hangman has tassels on the side of his tights, which I noticed, and it looked a little weird, but... It's
a little bit of leaning into that Western gimmick, I think, that he's doing, right?
Yep.
A little bit.
Pins and counters by both men to start. Hangman catches a leapfrog attempt by Kaz into a body slam.
He is so strong, man.
Deceptively.
We talk about it, right? He's the perfect... He's a bit of everything. He's fast. He's strong. He can do high risk. He's charismatic. He can talk. He's kind of the whole package, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
Sorry, I interrupted
Top
you.
exchange. No, it's fine. Kaz with multiple right hands. Springboard clothesline by Hangman. Take him out on the apron. Then slingshot plancha by Hangman to the outside. Clothesline stalemate. Both men kind of hit at the same time, and both men still on their feet. Page flips out of a suplex and a fall-away slam by Hangman. Running shooting star by Hangman.
Crazy.
And it just looks... It always amazes me every time. Kaz ducks a springboard clothesline, hits a slingshot DDT for near fall, reminiscent of Johnny Gargano. Backslide for 2 by Kaz. Unprettier by Kaz gets a close fall. I do like that I can just call him Kaz instead of, right?
Yes.
It's just easy. Murphy's Law by Hangman. We know what to call it. And then I just realized, oh, hey, that's Murphy's Law.
Yep.
Buddy Murphy's finisher. So I do love that move.
Pump handle DVD, right? Is basically what
I
it
don't
is.
know if it's a DVD or like I think
almost
it's
like an angle slant. It's somewhere in between.
It's something.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's cool.
More of Olympic style.
It looks good when Buddy does it.
It does
for
look
sure.
good. He just gets so much speed and
He does.
force on it. Kind of like Black Arrow by Pac. It
Yes.
looks so graceful, but he comes
Pac.
down hard.
When's he coming back, please?
Yeah, I know. Kaz causes Hangman to slingshot in, catches him with a cutter.
Looked awesome.
Yeah, it did look good. Hangman really got a nice jump on it, I guess. Hangman catches a springboard attempt with a sit-out powerbomb, which looked nice.
Yes.
Hangman misses a buckshot, sad face, and misses a moonsault off the apron. Buckshot lariat, yay, by Hangman, and that gets the win. And Omega leaves and Hangman sips beer.
Yeah, and at some point I had a note of Omega on commentary makes a comment that there's no one for Adam Page to make a tag to, right? Implying that sort of Page needs a partner to be successful, and maybe not so much a singles wrestler. What did you think of this match?
I thought it was good. It was obviously just to get Hangman a win, but less of a squash match and more of just a, I don't know, not really squash match, but just give Hangman a win, I guess, to get him back in the solos game.
Our opinions are a little bit different. I thought this was amazing. I thought I can't think of a singles match that I've liked better in quite a while. And it's not like I was expecting. I know Kaz is a good wrestler and stuff, but sometimes he's not the most interesting guy. But I thought this match was amazing. Like, I was captivated by this. I don't know if I was just in the mood to watch wrestling or not, because I never listened to any reviews until we're done, so I'll start listening to them as soon as we're done this. I'll be interested to see if people were as hyped on this show as I was, because I thought this match was fantastic. So, like,
I thought it was good.
Both of these matches to start, I thought were 4-star minimum, like, A-level matches. So,
you know, when I was covering it, I swear I heard a meow.
I did too.
So I think
Toast may have made her
right
debut
there.
on the podcast. Our
I don't know if it was
cat.
too audible, but I definitely heard it.
I did too.
But yeah, this was a good match, and nice to just have Hangman winning again in the singles division.
I loved it, and I don't know if we do end up doing like a year-end match of the year stuff. This might be on my list, even depending.
Even
memory,
if there's a bunch of better ones, it could still be in contention.
I thought it was fantastic. Yep.
Then we have a package vignette for the parking lot brawl, and all I wrote was not good song choice.
And I'm honestly the build to this feud. We'll get to the match later. The build to this feud's been okay.
Some good parts, and like when they destroyed the van.
But at the risk of saying too much, I'm going to say that the match sort of outperformed the feud for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Yeah. But we'll get there.
Next we had MJF versus Sean Dean, and the funny thing is Sean and Dean are spelled the same way.
SEAN?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Sean Dean, so that's kind of funny.
I didn't notice that.
Wardlow looks unhappy. So MJF hits an eye poke and then taps him out immediately with the Fujiwara armbar.
That's funny.
Which he calls salt to the earth.
The name didn't sound familiar to me, and that's because I have MJF with Wardlow versus nevermind ... Because by the time I was trying to write down the guy's name, the match was over already. So I didn't think it was too important.
And then a promo. MJF tells the crowd to be quiet. Talks about how Mox cheated. Says he should be the champ and you're a loser champ.
Yeah, it did.
I think.
Yep.
MJF says everyone should refer to him as the undefeated and undisputed uncrowned AEW champion. Orders Justin Roberts to announce him as such, and says there's a million different groups in AEW. He says maybe he should get a group, and drops his catchphrase, "I'm better than you and you know it," and drops the mic. Segment over.
Yep.
Boom.
Standard solid MJF promo. I thought there's
standard squash match.
I thought the nice little subtle slap to Wardlow, right? Because he's basically implying I'm a lone wolf and maybe I'll start getting some people. Well, he's always got Wardlow with him, right?
Yeah.
He's never alone. So it's almost like he's completely disregarding Wardlow, which obviously we're building towards this. We talked about it like $1 Million Man sort of and Virgil sort of situation. So I thought that was neat. Like, I'm a lone wolf when he literally is never by himself, right?
Yeah.
So a super squash match.
Maybe
and then
just heel logic there.
Just an opportunity for MJF to talk, which is never a bad idea.
Yep. Next we had one of Taz's analytic segments.
Yes, when Taz breaks down the technical side of
Ricky
wrestling.
Stark's finishing move, analyzes the spear in his finisher, talks about he has two different main grips for his finisher, the kind of the gut wrench and the double underhook, which I actually found interesting because I wouldn't have noticed that.
Yes, I thought this was useful too.
And now that I've seen that, I think the double underhook looks better because if he does the gut wrench, it just kind of looks like a sit out version of Bobby Lashley's Dominator.
Right.
So,
And we've talked, I don't know if it was on the podcast or just you and me talking, but Ricky Stark's spear looks awesome.
Yeah, so just the jump he gets on it. I think we dig some.
Yeah, he's so fast and he really like lunges forward. So I think it's nice that they focused on it because we've just sort of noticed it. Because a lot of people do spears, but not a lot do it well, right?
His looks good. Like jumps on it. It's just, I think because he's, since he's obviously smaller than a lot of people who do spears, it's not, I guess, much of a. Because, like, if you're Roman Reigns or Goldberg, there's a lot of body weight.
Momentum behind it, yes.
So I think the jump is at least putting some momentum into that.
Right, and he makes up for it by just the speed and the lunge that he takes. And some of these Taz segments I think are better than others, and I actually thought this one was good.
Yeah. Next we had Eddie Kingston and crew, I wrote.
Yes.
Promo by Eddie Kingston. He says he never lost the Battle Royal and deserves the title. Says they are family, not a faction. Says they cause violence after a fight. Orders Butcher and Blade to, quote, get victims.
Yes.
Double super kick by Lucha Bros to Random, and then a double team move. Kind of the Code Red thingy, wheelbarrow splash thing.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
We rewound
Butcher
that
and Blade slam to Random. Double team by Butcher and Blade and Penta to Griff Garrison. And says they are ready. Tells Blade to get house in order, question mark.
I put Bunny, question mark, in brackets, right? Because he's married to Allie in real life. So is this some sort of reference to that or just a throwaway line? I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yep. Next we had Chris Jericho and Jake Hager, a.k.a. The Inner Circle, versus Private Party, Isaiah Cassidy, and Mark Quinn.
Yes.
We start the match with Jake Hager versus Mark Quinn. Hager overpowers Quinn, and Isaiah Cassidy tags in. I just find it interesting because we also have Orange Cassidy, and for both I type Cassidy.
That would never fly in WWE, right? Two guys with the same name. So my one note here to start, I had if Jericho can make me care about Hager, he is truly a genius. We're testing the brilliance of Jericho here.
Nice.
He can make me care.
Hager retreats out. Jericho knocked off apron. Stereo suicide dives to opposite sides of the ring by Private Party. Ground and pound by Cassidy. Quinn tags in. Double suplex to Hager. Didn't you note that this was a little off, or was it a different match?
I think it's this. I think it was this one.
Because Hager's a big fella.
He is a large man.
Yeah, and then big boot by Hager, and Jericho tags in. Chops by Jericho, back suplex by Jericho, and Hager tags back in. Corner body blows by Hager, and Isaiah Cassidy hot tag. Jericho tags in. Springboard moonsault by Cassidy, and Hager hits a cheap shot on Cassidy. Basement dropkick by Jericho after he tags in, I think. JR blatantly lies to us about picture-in-picture.
Yes.
Like,
as always.
Real bad this
Every
time.
week.
Chinlock by Hager, side headlock choke by Hager, silly string by Private Party. I thought they actually did a decent job of it this time.
Yeah, sometimes we struggle with the setup to the silly string because sometimes the opponents have to be doing weird things.
But I think this actually worked.
This one was one of the better ones, I agree.
Jericho tags in, Mark Quinn hot tag, drop kicks to both opponents by Quinn, Tope Con Hero by Quinn to the outside, springboard crossbody for a near fall on Jericho, poetry in motion by Private Party, homage to the Hardy Boys. Stomp neck breaker by Private Party, which I liked. Isaiah Cassidy's now legally tagged in. Hurricane Rana from the top rope by Cassidy for a near fall. Cassidy with the kayfabe back injury in this match.
Yeah.
Roll up for a near fall by Cassidy, and then he misses a swanton. That back injury come into play.
Mm-hmm.
And Judas Effect by Jericho for the win. Chris Jericho and Jake Hager win the match, and then a post-match Walls of Jericho by Jericho. And then Quinn makes a save and hits a Pele kick, I think it was.
Right.
And then he just stares at Fallen Jericho, like almost as if they're setting up a singles match or something. Like, I was just confused how he was standing up and he was just looking down at me. He was I'm just
It did kind of end with Quinn standing tall, right, and staring them down. So
it was kind of weird.
It was the classic heels win, but the last visual we get is the baby faces sort of standing tall. I was kind of bored at the start of this match, especially compared to the first two matches, which I thought were amazing. But the second half, it picked up and was really fast, and I found it pretty interesting. But in general, man, I don't know, something's missing for me with Private Party. I know almost nothing about them other than they show up, do a bunch of cool athletic moves, and lose, right, lately. So it's almost the more I see them, the less I'm interested. And that's a shame because they could be awesome, and I think they are the future probably.
And they kicked off with that big win over the Bucks, right?
And this division is stacked, and they're less experienced for sure. So to me, they need to evolve somehow and change a little bit because right now they're just the young athletic guys that aren't quite good enough, and I've seen enough of that for now. And at times I find them a little bit sloppy, but they're definitely the future of tag teams.
Yeah, they just need to. Yeah, they do need to evolve.
So second half of the match I really liked, but it's hard to compare it to the first two.
I think overall it's just a good match to get Hager and Jericho over as a team, but it's kind of disheartening that's at the expense of Private Party.
The Judas effect's growing on me. It looks pretty good when he really nails it.
Yeah, but especially when you see, like, even just earlier, Dax Harwood hitting a back elbow that looks good as an average move. Right. And Andrade does it all the time.
Andrade's look amazing, too.
So that's the only thing for me.
But we all know Andrade's the best ever, so... One of my favorite matches of all time.
Don't even.
What is it?
Don't even.
Gargano
and Andrade. Takeover Philadelphia.
Go watch it.
2018.
It's a game changer. Sorry.
Well,
go ahead.
Cole and Gargano was better, so... And, well, even any of the Gargano-Ciampa matches that followed were better.
All of them are excellent. I prefer...
No, don't even.
Anyways.
Don't even.
Carry on.
Don't even. Next, we had Evil East versus Thunder Rosa, NWA Women's Championship match.
Yes.
Kind of interesting that this is being defended here, but I guess...
Why would NWA say no, right? It's publicity for them. They're getting on a much larger audience. That their show's not even on TV, right? So this, I imagine they're super happy with this. And I think AEW, again, seems to listen. So they've heard people probably say the women's division... is lacking and needs to pick it up.
Yeah, and AEW seems to be working with all places. OWE's kind of slipped, which is a shame because, oh my god, I just heard her meow.
It's okay, carry on.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. But OWE was a shame because I feel like they were really a budding new promotion.
Yes.
And Strong Hearts, for one, were really interesting.
Strong Hearts were really fun.
That was all that was in AEW, though. I think
they were really nice guys,
They had that kung fu guy, remember that we saw? He did the upside down punch
he was
thing.
Amazing. Who did he fight? Speedball?
Yeah,
Mike Bailey?
Yeah, that was the name. So Evil East is accompanied by Diamante. They got their tag cup medals.
Right.
Not their tag cup, but the medals, which are secondary. They were fighting for the cup, but they don't even carry out the cup.
It's tough to carry. It's tough to, travel with that thing.
With two people? They could probably carry it.
Maybe.
And they're definitely traveling too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
traveling nowhere.
Arm drags by Evil East, and Rosa blocks the third. Arm drag by Rosa. Super kick to the midsection by Evil East. Middle rope Hurricane Rana by Evil East. Shotgun drop kick by Thunder Rosa.
Which I thought looked really good.
Yep. Gory stretch reversed by Evil East, which is like the setup to the Gory Bomb, but obviously in a submission form. Chest kicks by Evil East post commercial break. Rosa reverses. Charging drop kick by Rosa. Russian leg sweep into a crossface by Rosa. And then super kick by Evil East after a reversal. Death Valley driver by Rosa gets a near fall. Snapmare kick by Evil East near gets the win, which she won the tag cup with.
Right.
This actually looked better than what she did in the tag cup because I remember we were confused in the tag cup.
We were. It wasn't
quite
clear what was going on.
Yes. It looked better, but anyways.
We'll get used to it.
Rosa hits a tombstone pile driver for the win, which is interesting. And Thunder Rosa retains the NWA Women's title. And then afterwards, Diamante attacks Thunder Rosa, and Sheeta makes a save, but eyeing the NWA title and then hands it to Rosa.
Right. I enjoyed this match. I thought it was a really good back and forth.
Good showcase for two talents who haven't had too many matches on AEW.
They both worked really hard, and I thought they looked good. Anyone that listens to this show knows I like Evil East, and Thunder Rosa is growing on me, right? I'm exactly what I was hoping, that she is a lot better than years ago when I saw her and was not impressed at all. The more I see her, the more I think she looks pretty good. So I thought this was another good match tonight.
And this could set up maybe Sheeta versus Rosa again.
All right, I'd watch it
this
again.
This time for Rosa's title. Which
interesting, right? They could switch it that way. And I'd watch it again.
Yep. Kip Sabian promo. Yes, I'm smiling right now.
Yeah. One part made me laugh right away when he said that the weight we're lifting, right, as Miro is the one benching massive weight behind him, because Sabian's referring to it as they're lifting it, right, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Miro lifting weights, which I noted, and then basically I think the gist of this was bachelor party planning.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
For the wedding
yes.
thing.
Yep.
And it's like they announce that they're getting engaged I've known this for a while. And
Yeah, they just decided to put it on TV.
Maybe,
I guess, right?
or like maybe it's just the announcement of the wedding.
Yeah.
I wonder if this will be their actual wedding, or is this is just a TV one. I think if it
I
gets
assume just TV.
interrupted, then it's probably a TV one. If it actually goes through.
Wrestling wedding interrupted? Are you crazy? That would never happen. They go off.
I'm losing my mind.
They always go off without a hitch. There's never been an issue in a wedding. Ever.
Yeah, I think you could say the same for contract
So I don't know
signings.
your pessimistic attitude. I'm sure this wedding will go off flawlessly. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah. So then we had Lance Archer and Jake Roberts coming out.
Yes, we did.
Attacks a random in the crowd. That's just.
Jake grabs a bad mic and it's hard to understand. At first, we're both kind of like, "What? What's he even saying?"
That's what I'm just gonna say is when they attack someone, attacks a random.
Yep.
Roberts promo. Sorry. Roberts talks about choices and tag partners. Says you're gonna lay with the devil. It might as well be the Tasmanian devil.
Yes.
Invites Taz out. Taz talks about how the trio will be unstoppable. So I guess the motive behind Team Taz helping out Archer in this is if Team Taz helps Archer in this 6-man tag match, Archer and Mox both captaining teams.
Right.
Cage gets a title match after Archer wins against Mox. If you're Team Taz, this is not the best deal. You fight in a pointless tag match and just for a title match you might not even get if Archer is unsuccessful.
True.
Right?
And Archer was trying to sell it like it was killing him to work with other people, right? Because they're trying to explain why this lone wolf who just destroys everybody would want to work with other people, which I get. And then I think they made the mistake of letting Archer talk again, and my notes say, "No, Archer, no talking for you.
Archer says he will annihilate Mox. He doesn't care about Eddie Kingston, and he and Cage will tear it up when they have a match, which it could be true.
That would be a monster match for AEW.
Except for the fact that they're both heels.
I do not like Archer talking, though. I don't need it. He has a mouthpiece that does a decent job for him. He should just stand there and look scary as far as I'm concerned. But what do I know? Mox
enters through the crowd. Cage and Starks attack Mox. And which I guess I should have seen coming, considering the fact that they were not with Taz, right?
Right.
So I guess you should just see that coming. But anyways, then I also noted poor security guard because he got annihilated. Will Hobbs makes the assist.
Yes, Will Hobbs. You did not like this. I like Will Hobbs.
No, I don't dislike Will Hobbs. I just think he's a primarily dark performer. Even then, he loses, I think. So
he's good on dark, but you're right. That is, but I think this is them. Like he did get some good shine in the Battle Royal too, right?
Yeah.
He looked pretty good in that. So I think they've just sort of seen that people are reacting favorably, and let's give him, as they say, he'll get a rub from working with Moxley, right? Like hopefully some of the fans translate over.
So yeah, well, I said and because he has another partner, but so Mox announces Will Hobbs as a partner, and then we got Darby Allin, which is the one I predicted. Will Hobbs was kind of the spot that I was like,
and it's Oakland's most violent Will Hobbs is how he was introduced by Mox. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to stick or not. Yeah.
So we got a few things for next week.
Yeah,
we got Lance Archer, Brian Cage, and Ricky Starks versus John Moxley, Darby Allin, and Will Hobbs. Before I keep going, what did you think of this?
Of the segment?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a decent segment, and I'm happy for Hobbs.
It was just good just to lead up to the match next week.
And I'm always going to be the guy wanting fresh talent, fresh matchups, even if it doesn't work. I love when companies try new people because that's how we get new exciting wrestlers and new exciting matchups. So I'm okay with it.
Yep. And then we got more stuff next week. We'll have Mr. Brody Lee versus Orange Cassidy for the TNT title.
Interesting.
I don't think he will, but if Orange Cassidy wins, would that not just be the most ridiculous thing ever?
It's interesting because they've both been booked so strongly lately, right? Like it's interesting to see something's got to give there. So that should be cool.
But maybe the Dark Order will
make it a non-finish sort of thing. Who knows?
Yeah, which I'd be okay with because maybe then we get them versus Best Friends.
Yeah, there is a place for those finishes. Sometimes you need to drag things out a bit.
Yep.
For sure.
But it's not like I feel like it's not like where Rollins and Fiend, they were just all of a sudden, boom, booked into the title match at Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
This is at least, I think, Brody Lee's been on a roll, and Orange Cassidy's proven himself to be a viable talent.
Yep, he's a main eventer now.
So I think the Fiend had one match and then
was immediately thrust in there. Yeah.
I'm like his biggest fan, so I was not complaining. But even I felt like this is kind of not right.
Right.
Like, don't get me wrong, I wanted him to be champion, but I knew it was too soon.
Yeah, it was, and
Yeah.
you were right.
Yeah,
I think.
and it was just not great. But anyways, enough about that. I don't think anybody wants to talk about that any more than we need to. We'll have Shida and Thunder Rosa versus Ivelisse and Diamante. Just Shida now, I guess, is what it even showed it on there, which I hate when they do this in WWE. I mean, I was actually reading a thing on when I was looking for my news that about name shortenings.
Yeah.
Alexander Rusev.
Yes.
He used to be Alexander Rusev.
He sure
did.
When he looked like the Tasmaniac, we talked about that last week.
Vince shortened it because he didn't want them to call the heel Rusev Alex, which made sense.
Yeah.
And Antonio Cesaro, he didn't want them to call him Tony.
Right.
Also made sense. And
it's strange the thing Vince cares about, though.
No, but those ones I can agree with because Cesaro makes sense and Rusev sounds cool.
Yeah.
Mustafa Ali made no sense because I think Ali just sounds so dry on its own.
Yeah.
It just sounds not great. Heavy Machinery's last name cut was unnecessary. Biggie Langston was stupid because Langston just sounds what?
Yeah.
And like. But yeah, so I just thought, and I don't think they need to do this. Hikaru Shida is nice because one of those Japanese names. I think it sounds good, right?
Yeah.
So
I know it's fun to say Hikaru Shida.
Right, I think Shida is almost like Ali, where it just sounds weird on its own.
Yeah.
Just because it's such a short name, it's just like no one's just named Shida.
They are now.
It's like, what if Dolph Ziggler was just Dolph?
Well, that is one of the worst names of all time. So.
Yeah, well, isn't the guy who played Ivan Drago or whatever? Named Dolph in real life.
Yes, Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, so it's. I guess that's realistic.
I guess.
All right, we're getting off topic.
Deep dives on names in wrestling.
Yeah,
it's
but
okay.
I just thought it was
a
topical thing.
Sometimes.
Yeah, Chris Jericho will be live next week, and so obviously WWE and AEW forced to do live now because the Thunderdome and then AEW's 10% fans.
Right.
But yeah, and then so we got Proud and Powerful, Santana Ortiz versus Best Friends, Trent and Chuck Taylor, Parking Lot Brawl.
Wow, all right.
Here we go. First of all, I wanted to note Proud and Powerful wearing face paint, just white face paint with black around the mouth and
Santana
eyes.
looked amazing. They both looked good, but I thought Santana specifically looked amazing.
Yeah, and I remember the first time I ever saw them when they were LAX was at Slammiversary 2018 when they're facing the OGs. It wasn't like a street fight or something.
Right.
They were wearing face paint.
That was Kenny Kingston's group, right?
Eddie Kingston.
Sorry, Eddie,
yeah.
Eddie
They just
Kingston.
called him King there.
Right, that's right.
But anyways, that was the first time I saw them. Then they were wearing similar face paint. I think it was like skull face paint.
Right.
So this kind of hit home for me a bit.
Yeah, they looked good.
And I love face paint. So.
And any regular listeners of the podcast know that I'm not the biggest fan of Best Friends, but lately their more sort of intense attitude with
really nice.
with Pride and Powerful it's been better. So
we'll
like
see what
happens.
Britt Baker was teaching Bailey how she should do the role model thing, and now they're teaching Breezango how they should do the serious
right.
gimmick.
Ugh,
right. And I like the fact that Santana Ortiz wear the face paint when it's like a big match.
Yep.
And I think that's just, I don't know. I love
they look
the face
cool for
paint.
sure.
I would like, obviously in the AEW Unrivaled series, they do the chase variants or whatever. If they put Proud and Powerful in a series, they should get the special variants, and then it should be the face
Their
paint.
pay-per-view face paint or
yeah,
big match face
I
paint.
think it would be kind of cool. And
Yep,
I just love
they
the
look
face
cool,
paint, so.
no doubt.
Yeah. Santana Ortiz being sent into cars. I wrote V cars for some reason. I think typo again.
Probably.
And somehow it's not like red underlined. Santana temporarily takes control of Chuck. Santana sent into car mirror. Trent beating Ortiz with the car hood.
Amazing.
Ortiz took a beating just right away.
It was so creative and looked so good, and it sounded good.
The only thing,
awesome.
And the only thing was the parking lot. It was just like cars in a circle.
Yeah.
But I think just this was so good. It's almost secondary.
Well, it's in a parking lot. They just arranged vehicles like to make a ring. Sort of,
I guess.
Yeah.
Truck or why did I say truck?
I don't know.
I'm thinking
it's coming up.
Truck.
There is a truck coming up.
Chuck does a rolling senton onto the hood with Ortiz underneath, and Trent does a really good senton.
Yeah.
It's like on the hood as
it
well.
Looked awesome.
And oh my god, I wrote Trent instead of Trent on this one thing. Oh my god. It's so
already in the first few minutes of this match, I enjoyed it compared to the hardcore match I saw on Impact the week before or whatever that was. Like in the first 3 minutes, I saw stuff that blew
and
that
Trent
away.
Horde hits Ortiz with the wood plank.
Yes.
There's those, and
Wood attacks Trent's face is what I have here.
Santana back in the action. Santana has that baton, hits Chuck and Trent. Santana hits Decapitator under the truck.
Looked amazing.
Like you know how trucks have the
gate,
the bed, and then like the door thingy.
The gate was open, and
and it face first into that.
It looked
so
great.
I thought that was creative. I just realized that a truck could be like the combination of Trent and Chuck.
Interesting.
Where am I? Ortiz attempts to throw a sledgehammer at Chuck, but misses. Punctures the window. Looks. It's always a cool visual. Just how it just goes boom and breaks.
Yep.
Just I don't know. Just looks cool. Ortiz suplexes Chuck on top of the car. Santana, I wrote hissed instead of hits. So another typo. Again, not underlined. Hits a frog splash on the top of the car. That was
from
insane.
Another car a decent distance away. It was a pretty cool combination. You get a suplex.
I remember Eddie Guerrero was in a parking lot brawl of some sorts, and he did a frog splash onto the window and broke it. I remember.
It looked really good.
Yeah. It was really cool. Yeah. Ortiz drops garbage bin on Chuck, not a trash can, one of those big plastic garbage bins.
Right.
So I made sure to just not write trash cans.
There is a standard trash can in these matches, and they didn't use it. No, you're right.
Ortiz hits Trent with baton.
Mm-hmm.
Trent spears Ortiz through a door leaned on the car. No door handle, just a door. And it was kind of basically through a table.
And blood is introduced, right, at this point, yes.
Basically through a table, but it did look cool because it was a door.
Yep.
Santana hissed. I wrote it again. Hissed Truck with a piece of door. I said truck again. Oh my god, I'm sorry.
So
Chuck
he
with
hit
a piece
Chuck
of door.
with a piece of the door, yes.
Yeah, sorry. Trent throws door piece at head of Ortiz. Ortiz smacks Trent with dustpan.
Yes, a big dustpan shot.
Chuck leans steel barricade on car and suplexes Ortiz onto barricade. Ortiz and Trent take a beating in this match.
Ortiz just seems
Trent will take a beating.
Yes,
let me just tell you.
He will.
When we cover it.
The suplex on the guardrail was insane. There was so much
through the
insanity
door.
Here.
And wait, did Trent take the frog splash? I think he did, right? So,
yes.
Already a lot of offense here.
Yeah.
Sorry, where am I?
Suplex on the metal guardrail. I have low blow on the roof to Trent.
Santana breaks wood plank over Trent's back, which I always think looks cool.
It
and
does.
then, the low blow by Ortiz to Trent. And then Ortiz powerbombs Trent on top of car.
Looked cool.
Double powerbomb by PMP to
Awesome.
put Trent through car windshield, and then his back is bloodied.
I don't think I've used so many exclamation marks in notes that we've taken before. It's like Trent powerbombed on roof of car, exclamation mark. Double powerbomb through windshield, exclamation mark. Trent's back, exclamation mark, right? This match was crazy.
I just looked through my notes, so Chuck took the frog splash.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I think we both saw it, and then I just looked back, and it was just nope. Chuck attacks with a baseball bat. Chuck breaks wood plank over Ortiz's back multiple times, which, again, it's a cool visual.
And Santana is so aggressive. It's like he's just unhinged here. It's like at another level. I thought he looked amazing.
Santana backdrops Chuck onto two garbage bins that were on their sides, which looked kind of cool. Orange Cassidy pops a trunk nail Santana with an orange punch with his hand in a chain. Chuck hits a pile driver on Santana on a car hood, and Trent hits, I believe it's strong zero, but I think Hangman called this the Deadeye.
Deadeye, yes.
Or I think in the game it's called a Dude Buster, so actually I'll call it that.
Originally, yes.
Hits the Dude Buster through a plywood sheet laid in the truck bed for the win. And best friends leave in Sue's new van, and best
Which
friends
was a nice
win the
little
parking
callback
lot
too.
brawl. And Sue flips off P&P. This was a really good main event.
It was better than that, man. This match was
Yeah,
this was
I loved
amazing.
it.
This was crazy. It over-delivered for me. Again, this feud's been fine, and best friends have been better than I normally find them. But this match I would watch this again. I would, if you have someone who's not sure about wrestling and they won't mind a hardcore match, this match was creative. It was hard-hitting. It was fast. There was not it wasn't just hitting people with stuff. There was creative ways of doing these things. And I had just watched a really standard non-creative hardcore match on Impact last week, and this is like no comparison whatsoever. I thought this was amazing. Insane effort and commitment by everybody. Everybody did things that human body shouldn't be doing in this match.
The finish was really nice too. Just the satisfying break of the plywood.
It was an innovative, creative spots I haven't seen before in 30 whatever years of watching.
Mostly
wrestling.
Trent Ortiz, but everybody took a beating.
Yeah, it was amazing. This match was fantastic.
I would definitely give this like maybe a 4.5.
Yeah, it was 4.5, 4.75. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to watch it again.
It was fantastic.
What did you think of the show overall?
I would probably give this an A-.
All right. So I sort of like to go back and look through, right? So amazing tag team opener.
Yep.
Terrific singles match, I thought, Paige and Kaz. A really strong women's match. A blow-away parking lot match. A strong MJF promo. So
and
this show is an A for me, and it's pretty close to like A+ possibly. I would almost watch this entire show again. I thought this was the best show we've seen in quite a while. So I would say 3 matches I thought were top quality. The women's match was good to very good. It was good. I basically had a blast watching this. Good luck NXT, because I thought this show was absolutely killer. On a week where they're going head to head, it feels like AEW just went, oh yeah, here you go. Here's our best stuff. And it was amazing. I loved it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was a really good show. The main event really just capped off a great show.
Fun. If you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. We rarely tell people they should go out and watch something, but I would. This whole show pretty much is worth your time.
And if you don't want to watch the full show, at least watch the main event, because I feel like that was, if it's just, and maybe that'll encourage you to watch the rest of the show, just because it was a really
just
good
a
show.
Great product. They're trying really hard, and it was an amazing show.
I think even when they don't try super hard, they can put on a good show, but when they really need to, they deliver.
This was a solid A to A+ show.
Yep.
Top to bottom. Any other thoughts before we move on to Off the Top of His Head?
Nope. I think that's everything.
So that wraps up our Dynamite review, and we'll move into Off the Top of His Head. So you seemed to like the trivia one last week, so I thought we'd carry on from there.
Yay.
Yes, with me eliminating a couple easy that were too easy. So this is WWE put this out. I initially, I think, told you it was 60 questions, which isn't true. It's 60 slides. So we'll finish I'm eliminating this one that says, like, I'm the Miz and I'm blank.
Awesome.
Wow. So yeah, those are the ones I'm taking out. Even though I guess we just kind of included it. But all right. So let's see what you know.
Okay.
Which superstar won the inaugural Money in the Bank ladder match in 2005?
Edge.
Right. So I didn't even have to give you the options there. And Edge is one of the options.
Because I think we did Money in the Bank winners, did we not?
I think we did. That was a previous Off the Top of His Head, which you've crushed everyone, basically. Which superstar did Stone Cold Steve Austin defeat in the 1996 King of the Ring tournament before coining the Austin 316?
Jake Roberts.
Jake the Snake Roberts is correct.
I remember playing that in the showcase.
Wow. Well done.
2K16.
Which of the following superstars has not won the Intercontinental Championship at least 5 times? Okay. So who hasn't won it at least 5? Jericho, Jeff Hardy, Van Dam, The Miz.
Van Dam?
Well, they're saying Jeff Hardy.
I think he's 5-time now, so I think it's
You're probably more correct than this. I bet you. If anyone wants to fact check, because I don't know when WWE published this, but I bet you're right.
I think Jeff Hardy's 5-time now, so that might be.
We'll have a quick check later, maybe.
Might just be outdated.
True or false? The Rock won the WWE World Tag Team Championships pairing with The Undertaker.
True.
That is true. Do you have to know what year or anything?
99?
2000. Pretty close. Oh. Very close. Okay. Which WWE Hall of Famer was the first ever Intercontinental Champion in 1979?
Pat Patterson in a fictitious tournament.
Pat Patterson is correct.
It was a fake tournament.
Here's a tough one. I think. How many WrestleMania events have taken place outside of the United States? WrestleMania is not in the U.S.
Options, because isn't that numbers?
There is not options.
What?
Oh, sorry. Wait. There are, how many? 1, 2, 3, or 0? Think of the ones. Sorry, I won't say anything. Have there been WrestleManias outside of the United States?
Yes. We've gotten at least 2.
So, what's your answer?
2.
2 is correct. Only
So
the ones in
just
Toronto.
us.
Yep. WrestleMania
Suckers.
6 and X8.
Yep, I know.
Good.
We got Ultimate Challenge and Icon versus Icon.
If you say so.
What? Hogan versus Warrior and Hogan versus Rock.
Right. At which pay-per-view event did Chris Jericho become the first undisputed champion?
Vengeance 2001.
That is one of the options, and you are correct.
Yee.
That one's too easy.
You're too easy.
True or false? Shawn Michaels holds the record for longest time in a Royal Rumble match with 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 12 seconds from 2006.
2006 is Rey Mysterio.
I understand, but this is the question. So
False?
are you saying it's false? Yes, because it was Rey Mysterio.
Oh, okay.
Okay, at WWE TLC 2013, the World Heavyweight title and the WWE title were unified, with this superstar becoming the first ever
Randy
WWE
Orton.
World Heavyweight
Randy
champion.
Orton, known as a crap reign.
Randy Orton.
He lost it to Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30.
Wow.
In a
Okay.
triple threat match that also included Batista.
Details.
And in the match, he handcuffed Cena to the ropes, but then Cena unhooked the turnbuckle or whatever. But then, and Randy Orton pulled the ropes and he hit his face off the table. The table didn't actually break.
There you go, folks. That's a glimpse into this child's memory. Well,
it was in that
this
book.
teenager. He's
It was
not a
in that
child
book.
anymore. It doesn't matter if it's in a book. You still have it memorized somehow. The book's not here. The book's on 2 floors above us, so it's still
Yeah.
impressive. All right. Which superstar won the inaugural, I think I might have even gotten this one, Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania 30?
Cesaro.
Correct.
And then he eliminated Big Show last. He did the Hogan slam thing,
Right.
kind of like he did to Andre, but he put him over the top rope, and then Big Show won the second one.
Because that man, I swear, is pound for pound the strongest guy in that company, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He's
He,
unbelievable.
Just lifted Big Show, boom.
I've been watching him since he was Claudio Castagnoli in Ring of Honor, with
That's
tagging
a
with Chris
brutal
Hero
name.
as the
That's
Did
a
him-
brutal name.
America's, I forget the name of their team at this point,
America's
but they were
Most Smelly.
America's Most Wanted, maybe, or is that from TNA?
That's in
It's
TNA.
all a blur.
I'm almost positive.
So Honky Tonk Man lost his
Honky
Intercontinental
Tonk
Championship to the Ultimate Warrior at SummerSlam 1988,
Yep.
but was originally scheduled to face which superstar?
Macho Man.
Why? No,
Oh.
not one of the options.
Oh, okay.
This one's really hard. Big Boss Man, Brutus Beefcake, Junkyard
Bruce
Dog,
Beefcake.
Rick Rude. Sorry.
Bruce Beefcake.
Well, how did you know?
I remember hearing that somewhere, I think.
You are correct.
I think he was supposed to, lose it to Macho Man a while ago, and then, I don't know. It was something involving Macho Man, so that's why I said that first.
Macho Man, one of my favorites of all time.
On that poster.
True or false? Legendary manager, I think the greatest manager ever, Bobby the Brain Heenan, once fought the Red Rooster in a match at WrestleMania 5. True or false?
False.
True. I remember that one. Yeah, we got a question that I would have known and you didn't. This is a great day for me.
Okay,
He did fight him. Which superstar enjoyed the longest single reign with the Divas Championship? Oh, the lovely Divas Championship.
Who cares?
It was 301 days. Your options then? Do you need the
No,
options?
I think. Wait, so when was this published? The thing?
I don't know. It's just
'Cause-
on their website.
The longest one, is it AJ Lee?
No, she's one of the options.
Is it Nikki Bella then?
It is Nikki
Okay,
Bella.
so because I was only confused because it is Nikki Bella, but depending on when this was published, it could have been AJ Lee.
Right. Nope, you're right. It was Nikki Bella.
Okay.
I'm sure she broke that. And that was the last question. So I think you got one wrong and then crushed every other one.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive as always. Great job.
Yeah.
So another one off the top of his head is in the books.
I think if we do this kind of thing again, I think we need to try to find maybe just even if it's on a website, just a current one, so that way it's accurate.
Yes. I didn't know that one wasn't current.
No, that's fair, but just for next time.
Yep, you still did really well. So that would move us into our next topic, which is going to be the weekly NXT.
Yep, that's the one I stuck you with.
And this is more me, which is okay. So, we just finished watching this morning, I guess, right? We watched some last night and some this morning. So the show starts with a recap of literally everything from the previous week.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
And I don't have a problem with that. I mean, sometimes I need that. I forget from week to week because I watch a lot of stuff right now. We're told there are 2 title matches tonight, and Shotzi Blackheart's theme starts immediately, and I'm guessing that's her first match.
When in her entrance, I just noticed how terrible her theme is. I heard it, and it's just like, bleh.
There's not much about her we're fans of.
No, if anything.
So we get Shotzi Blackheart versus Io Shirai, and my first line was, "This better not be close. Shotzi's not on Io's level." So suffice it to say, I would be somewhat disappointed here. Io seems to be doing her heel entrance now, and then as they go for a handshake,
Hasn't she been though since she turned heel though? Like,
I don't know. She's been back to face again against
yeah, but
Dakota
she was still
Kai.
doing the entrance though.
I know, but it's like the flip flopping back and forth. Like against Dakota, she wasn't a heel.
Yeah, but she still had the entrance.
But I'm talking about the entrance and just the way she does her entrance, and then she's slapping away handshakes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure when the heel turn was exactly, but Shotzi ducks a move and then does her howling. One of the things that annoys me about her. There's trips and covers, reversals, and an awful power bomb by Shotzi for 2. She barely got her above, maybe from waist height, if that.
It was like when Diesel sometimes did the jackknife and he just dropped them, except at least he got them up. Like,
yeah, she
mostly.
did not.
He got them
like
up mostly,
height.
and he's also a giant, tall person.
We get a submission applied, sort of pinning Io's arms behind her back until Io gets to the ropes. Shotzi misses a dropkick and ends up outside, and Io moonsaults and barely hits Shotzi, so I don't know whose fault that is. I'm going to assume it's Shotzi just because that she should have probably moved in to be the base for that a little bit better.
Oh, yeah, it looked like a moonsault Meteora.
Yes. But back from commercial, and Shotzi has a shotgun drop kicks Io.
Oh, no, wait, that's the finish. Never mind.
And that was later. Gets her face buster, and she does some more yelling. We get a knee by Shotzi, a forearm exchange, and a chop exchange. Counters and a crossface by Io until Shotzi gets to the ropes. Insecurity and a question mark kick, running cannonball, all by Shotzi. Double underhook suplex with a bridge for 2 by Shotzi, which I thought was pretty nice. Bridging submission by Shotzi, and Io escapes. Flapjack by Io. 619 by Shirai. Pause for Jack to correct me.
Tiger Fang kick.
I knew it was coming. Missile drop kick for 2. Hurricane Rana from the top by Shotzi for 2. Shotzi climbs the ropes again, and Io kind of meets her there. We get a superplex countered into battle on the apron now, and a German suplex to Shotzi on the apron that looked pretty good. Running Meteora by Io in the corner. I'll let you describe it. A moonsault to Shotzi.
Moonsault Meteora, or like, not Meteora, but like
her
I guess
shins
the double
just
knees.
Destroyed, or her shins and knees look like it got shot.
I was almost pleased.
Right in the stomach, because Io's moonsault, I'm sure if you don't watch the show, her moonsault is different. A lot of people try and get up really high and make it look graceful and land down. She just comes down
with impact.
She just does it flat and with a fast impact, and her shins and knees hit
Sometimes
this
it doesn't always go great.
Stomach.
It might not always be her fault, but
it looks like it would hurt every time, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't look as graceful or as beautiful as some, but it looks like it would hurt.
Yeah.
So that gets the pin for Io. And now, so Io's a face again at the end of the match, going for a handshake, which she wanted no part of to start the match.
It's like, I beat you. Nice job, I guess.
What did you think of the match before I...
Grown. Too much offense by Shotzi. She doesn't deserve this. I did not like it.
Too long. Too much sloppy half-speed offense from Shotzi. So much rope running. If you watch, so much of her offense involves her having to run off the ropes. It's like the one thing she's mastered or something.
Even then, it's like Tessa Blanchard is better. Hello.
100 times. Io got almost none of this match, which makes me angry. The difference between these two in the fluidity of their movements and things is incredible, right? Like everything Io does is like smooth and flows, and Shotzi looks like she's running in, I don't know, like in knee-deep water or something. It's just, she doesn't do anything for me. I know they're giving her a shot here, and I'm generally okay with that. I just don't think she performed here. And I think she still has a ways to go. She needs to get better. I'm not saying she couldn't get better.
Sure.
I'm just, at this point, she's not at the level of the top tier women in this company.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Then we move into a really quick Ciampa package. It's just a highlight of his vicious attack on Jake Atlas from last week, basically.
Jake Atlas is not my favorite, so he deserved it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping they're going to do something with him. Then we get debuting, quote unquote, Desmond Troy versus Tommaso Ciampa.
Yep. FKA Denzel Dejournette. He was jobbing out on SmackDown a few times.
And I knew that name wasn't going to stick, Dejournette.
It's pretty brutal.
So he's been sort of repackaged as Desmond Troy here. I actually thought he's looked okay in some matches before. He didn't get much here, obviously. But so we're reminded that Ciampa never actually lost the title, which I think is a nice thing for them to bring up, right? He was the champ and never lost it.
Yeah, and it can just be this ongoing story. And it'll be interesting. It'll be different from, like, say what Finn Balor did. He never lost his title, but since Ciampa is a heel,
right? He's gonna remind us a lot, probably, of it.
And he can just like be pursuing it, even if it takes him forever to get it back.
Yep, it's a cool little wrinkle to have for his character. So he gets advantage early by not breaking clean, basically. And then we get a chin lock, a pretty aggressive one. I see a lot of chin locks, and Ciampa's looks pretty good. A roll up and a drop kick by Troy. Ciampa runs him over and stomps him in the corner, hits a decapitator under the bottom turnbuckle. And then we pretty much hit the Widow's Bell right away, and I put RIP Project Ciampa because Jack and I love Project Ciampa. And that gets Ciampa the 3 count. Jake Atlas comes out and tells us Ciampa is the top of the food chain, and next week it's Atlas's time to eat, and he'll show us how dangerous he can be.
And what I said was like, Atlas wants to eat. Atlas is hungry.
I thought his delivery was actually pretty good, but they gave him lame stuff to say. Like, that's not his fault, I don't think. This whole, like, you're the top of the food chain and it's my time to eat. Like, he did a good job speaking. The words that he was provided weren't.
But the words were bad.
Wouldn't what I.
He did a good job speaking it, but the words were bad.
Right, and that's not his fault. So I didn't think this was great. Just basically an enhancement match. Ciampa didn't look particularly vicious or anything, which I thought it should have been. Right, if you're doing a enhancement match with Ciampa, he should just destroy the guy. Whereas this was more like move, it's over. I guess it was just to set up the angle afterwards.
And I think MJF's squash match was better. He just poked him in the eye and did his submission.
So we'll see where this goes from here. I'm hoping they can build Jake Atlas a little bit. Would be nice just because he's someone new for me to see. But I thought this was just whatever. Wasn't that great.
Yeah, it was fine.
It was fine. There it is. We didn't have anything that was fine in AEW. That might be our first fine of of episode 9.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's a record probably. We're an hour in.
Nice.
So we see Drake walking outside pulling a suitcase, and he's asked about Dane not wanting to be his partner this week against Undisputed Era. Drake basically says that the enemy of his enemy is his friend, right? It's one of these ideas. They both have problems with Undisputed Era, so that they should kind of work together. And even though Dane has knocked him out and he hasn't heard from Dane since, he assumes that they'll be fine. Okay, then we quickly...
Yeah, kind of Drake Maverick just hoping for the best.
Right, and it's to put him as this, like... because he's really good at making you feel sorry for him, right? So this is, I think, what they're going.
When he did that, when he got fired, I think it might have been a little real, but I think they brought him. I think
maybe
I think it was real, and then they brought him back because the fans were behind him. But I did feel bad for him after.
I didn't look into it, but I heard somewhere that his crying promo of being fired came like so immediately after he had been released. It kind of felt like it had already been created before. I don't know. I don't believe anything really in WWE, so who knows what's real and what isn't.
Fair.
All right, so then we get a Balor package, and he says that Adam is undisputed, but there's only one Prince, and he's been asked how this reign will be different from the one 4 years ago.
Yeah, he talks about NXT then versus now. Is
right, and sort of about how he was being a company guy, and it was all about the brand, and I think the implication is that this time it's all about himself. He's not doing things for other people.
No more smiley boy.
He's not going to be the smiling face of the company. He's going to be this version of Finn Balor. So he says the line starts here, and you better look both ways before you cross the Prince, which I thought was another cheesy line.
The NXT title is now the most prestigious. Right now that he's champion.
So this was fine.
These are the only things that make him heel, and the slight alteration of his entrance.
Right. So it's, to me, I want them to go further with it. It's more of like, it's this, he's telling us and not showing us, right? Like, good theater is the characters will show us their character and not just tell us what they are. So anyways, we'll see how it goes. I mean, they kind of had to throw the belt on him quickly, right? So maybe it's not the most well-developed storyline they've ever had.
Yeah.
We get Austin Theory comes out, and he's bringing a mic to the ring. And I think that there is something cocky and hateable about this kid when he comes out to the ring. Like, he's easy to not root for. So that's good in this business, right?
Yeah, and if he gets a better theme and maybe a little more of a gimmick, then... I think he's something to get behind as a future talent.
Because the worst thing is indifference, right? When people don't care about you at all. If they hate you, that's great. You can work with that. And I think he's hateable.
Right.
So he says Reed's win last week was a fluke, and he's having an open challenge tonight. And Kushida comes out. I don't know.
No music.
I'm not interested in Kushida at this point.
I don't
know what it
him.
is. Kushida kicks Theory to the outside, and we just keep hitting us over the head with this new aggressive Kushida. Again, telling us. Mat work, and Theory escapes to the ropes. Kushida dominates Theory on the mat. Theory takes control with the clothesline and punches. Strikes by Bo, snap suplex by Theory for a 1 count, a backbreaker by Theory, a standing backflip missed by Theory. I don't know if I've seen him do that before. And we get some kicks by Kushida. Hip toss, basement drop kick by Kushida looked pretty cool. Outside now, Theory has his forearm, takes his forearm into the post. Kushida attacks the injured arm at this point. And this is, again, where I point out this is too much of them discussing this new side of Kushida, this new aggressive,
It's
like we
the
get
hard
it.
part of the ring apron. It's like,
Just let us watch
holy.
it and learn, assume that we have eyes and that we can interpret information, and you don't have to club. Josh Matthews does this later, spoiler alert for me too. You don't have to club us over the head with what's going on, people.
Yeah.
Stomps to Theory while his arms are being held. Hoverboard lock. Theory taps. Kushida keeps the hold on even after he already taps. He refuses to break the hold.
Attitude.
Right. I thought this was pretty much a nothing match. The commentators made it worse for me with their constant talk of Kushida's new attitude. So for me, that detracted. It was just an okay match.
And if they're trying to build up Theory, I think it was a shame that this new attitude in Kushida had to be brought out at his expense.
Right. So, I mean, Kushida can wrestle, but I'm not loving anything he's doing so far, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Then we get a Candace selfie promo. She's offered Tegan the opportunity of a lifetime, and then Tegan just broke their TV. The women's battle royal next week is for the #1 contender at TakeOver, and I thought Johnny was kind of funny in this segment. He's really upset about the TV, and he's going to go and pick out the most expensive TV he can find and bill it to Tegan. So I don't know. This was not much either. I don't know. Johnny was amusing, but the rest was just okay. Mm-hmm. Then we get to Breezango, my favorite tag team, versus Imperium, who are around still, I guess. So
NXT UK is coming back up soon, so you'll get lucky.
So Imperium rushes the ring and attacks Breezango, but it backfires sort of, and Breezango still end up in control. And then we end up in the ring. The match starts, and Eichner controls Fandango after a cheap shot to start. Bartel is now in with stomps to Fandango. Fandango chops, but he's dragged back to the heel corner. This first half of this match is basically the heels isolating Fandango, right? He's the face in peril, setting up a hot tag for Breeze. Punches to grounded Fandango and a stomp. Diving uppercut by Bartel as Fandango is isolated. Eichner's back in, and he's choking Fandango on the ropes. Back suplex by Eichner. I really like Eichner. A lot of his offense, I think, looks pretty crisp.
Yeah, because he's like strong and
fast. He's kind of like
athletic.
he's kind of like Paige in a way, to be honest. He can do a bit of everything other than talk, and charisma aren't quite there yet. Fandango shows signs, but takes.
Except I think he's a little more muscly than Hangman.
He is a little bit. Fandango shows signs of offense, but takes a big lariat from Eichner to sort of level him again. Bartel's back in, and we get more punches and elbows. Uppercut and double underhook suplex by Bartel looked pretty good. Eichner's back in, and there's a cheap shot by Bartel to stop the hot tag as Fandango gets close. We get double sliding drop kicks to Fandango as he hangs over the middle rope that looked kind of cool. Back elbows and a clothesline, and we finally get the hot tag to Breeze. So Breeze is running the ropes and dominating Eichner, and he slaps a single leg crab on Eichner. Bartels tries to help, but is held up outside. Eichner goes for a moonsault, but gets stopped by Fandango and kicked by Breeze. Brainbuster by Eichner for 2. Fandango gets rid of Bartel, drags Breezango to the corner for a tag, and we're outside the ring now, and Eichner wants another Brainbuster, but Fandango makes the save, and the action really picks up here, so my notes are probably going to suffer. Bottom line, we get lots of fast-paced action with the finish coming when Breezango escapes the uppercut powerbomb finisher, and a Hurricane Rana roll-up for the win. Thoughts before I give mine?
Kind of like the FTR Jurassic Express match. I thought the finish was interesting because, Fandango like kind of moves Tyler Breeze and then he shoves off Bartel.
Yeah, it was kind of it was clever. Yep.
Yeah, so it was a clever finish. Other than that, I think these are kind of the only two prominent esque teams right now.
Yes,
so,
ish.
So yeah, their division's lacking.
I actually thought it was a really you're absolutely right about the division. We've talked about it. I thought this match, like I'll always say, in a vacuum, right? If we just look at the match, I thought it was really good. 2 different halves. The first half was basically Imperium cutting off the ring, right, and dominating Fandango, trying to get the hot tag to Breeze. And then I thought the second half, it shifted into this fast-paced action by everybody. I thought it was a very, and you may agree, a very strong match from a very weak division. I just wish I cared for some reason, right? Like,
yep.
If it's just a match and nothing else, it's good.
I can't.
But the storyline and the division, there's really nothing there, so there's not much to sink your teeth into.
Yeah.
All right, so next we get good old Jessie Kamea and Xia Li tagging somehow against Caden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. So
no real explanation here.
My son with the strong memory. Is there any history between these people? Is there any reason for this? No, right? I mean, obviously we know Carden and Catanzaro are a tag team, but
that's literally all we have here.
Okay, so I thought maybe I was just forgetting something. So much talk of Caden and Casey being BFFs. Like, this is another thing they're hitting us over the head with this week that
It's
they could
like-
just stop.
Yeah.
Carter and Lee exchange reversals, and Carter tags out. Drop toe hold and drop kick combo. Lee back in and takes control of Carter and tags in Kamea. Arm drag by Kamea, then kicks by both faces and a clothesline by Kamea. Lee in, she chops knees and spinning kicks. I thought was a nice fast combination for a 2 count. Kamea hits a leaping forearm, and then both wrestlers tag out. Carter and Lee are in, and they strike each other, and Carter lands a drop kick, crucifix, and a jackknife pin combination by the faces for the win. Do you want to explain that more clearly? Do you remember what it was? The drop kick into a
No, I think it was a pump kick by Catanzaro.
Okay.
And then Carter hit like the crucifix bomb, and then Catanzaro did that running jackknife cover, and it was kind of like the way they landed. It looked like Xia Li just like fell on and like dropped Carter on her back, and then like they kind of shifted over so that Xia Li's shoulders were on the mat.
Right.
It was kind of spotty.
So and then after the match, we've got fist bumps all around, but Xia Li's not having any of it, so she drops and rolls out of the ring.
Another heel turn in the women's division.
So thoughts on this match before I say what I want to say?
I thought this was fine, but what was the point of this?
I didn't think it was great. I think Kamea is very green. The other 3 are improving, but none of them are really ready to carry a match, right? At this point, so I didn't.
And the worst part is there's no story, no reason for this.
I really feel like they're just trying to find ways to get Catanzaro and Carter on TV because they're trying to get some sort of women's tag team somewhere in this company since they have tag team belts for it. Yeah. And it is developmental, so I've got time for people sort of learning on the job.
It's only like half developmental now, though.
Right, but that doesn't mean I had to like this match, and I don't think it was a strong match.
No.
Drake talks to Dane about their match later. That's really all I had about that. And now we got a Tegan sort of replying to Candice LeRae's selfie promo from earlier. Tegan knows that she's not the one that's changed. Candice watched her get put through a table and did nothing about it. Candice isn't winning the Battle Royal, and it's this time everything is different. I thought she did a good job here. I thought this was better than her performance in the Gargano-LeRae house from last week. It wasn't anything outstanding, but it was solid.
Yeah, that's fair. It was just to set up this feud.
Right, just further pushing this Tegan and Candice LeRae that they're going to meet up at some point. Mm-hmm. So we end, the next thing, not the end yet, is the Undisputed Era. So that's Strong and Fish at this point versus Drake Maverick and, in theory, Killian Dane, but he's nowhere to be seen for most of this match, right?
Yeah, that's what I noted.
So Maverick comes out alone and does a pretty good job of looking nervous. There is no Dane. Maverick does really awesome character work, actually, and he's not bad in the ring, so I really hope they find a place for him because he is really good at getting sympathy from a crowd.
Yep.
Undisputed Era take turns destroying Maverick. Drake has a brief flurry against Roddy, but eventually eats a boot, and the beatdown continues. Another flurry by Drake, missile drop kick for 2. So the story of the most of this match is Drake getting little glimpses of hope, but then Undisputed Era take control again, and that just keeps happening for the first part of the match.
Yeah, it's just very kind of repetitive.
And they show us Dane is backstage watching the match on a television screen. Drake keeps trying, but he just can't keep control of Undisputed Era. Then we flash back to the backstage, and Regal confronts Dane, basically saying, like, really, you're going to let this happen to this guy? He's supposed to be your partner. So Dane gets up and begrudgingly sort of heads towards the ring. Mm-hmm. Dane shows up. Looks like he's going to be no help. He rolls Drake back in the ring, and just you can hear him say, take it like a man, and he starts to leave. So Undisputed Era, I thought this makes them kind of look ridiculous. They take the time to insult Dane and call him a fat dork as he's leaving. So now Dane is mad and comes back like, why would these intelligent wrestlers do this and risk bringing him back?
Sloppy.
I thought it was, that's the word I would say. It seems a bit sloppy.
Just unwise.
So now Dane, after being called a fat dork, is furious. So he comes back and dominates Undisputed Era with clubbing blows until Fish brings in a chair and gets DQ'd. So Dane clears the ring with a pump kick, and Drake and Dane stand tall in the ring. And then it looks like you've sort of got this reluctant tag team joining forces, but then Dane knocks out Drake once again.
Yep.
So I guess...
So it's like they're coming together, but then they're not?
Right. And I could see myself caring and following it a little bit. We'll see. Because we've been saying about Dane, right? He's not a singles wrestler. He has to be part of a group or a tag team or something. So I could see them being an interesting combination.
I don't think this is the way to go, though.
They're just sort of slow burning us to get them together, I guess. Mm-hmm. The match served its purpose, I guess, but it wasn't great, and I thought the Undisputed Era looked kind of stupid. by instead of
yeah.
letting this monster walk away from the ring, you tease him and make him come back to destroy
It's
you.
like, do you want to get beaten up?
And they're supposed to be these clever tacticians, right? So it sort of didn't make sense to me. Anyways,
that's fair.
then we get Jake Atlas is walking and talking outside. I think he's also pulling a suitcase. Seems to be a theme this week, and is jumped and kicked by Ciampa. And you get O'Reilly showing up, and he sort of confronts Ciampa. So I don't know, how did you feel about this? O'Reilly, I told you he's going to break off and be a singles guy.
No, why? No.
He is the most interesting guy. If they're going to break someone out of there, he has the most
Cole,
charisma.
most interesting.
Well, obviously, but he's already an established star. They have to start.
Yes, he is.
Okay, so you're completely negative and not open to this, so I won't
No,
try
I'm
and
kidding.
talk to you about
I
it.
am kind of open to this, but I'm never gonna be happy about them breaking up. But
who's the one that always does entertaining stuff and quirky little things that we
yeah,
laugh
I know.
at? O'Reilly.
No, all jokes aside, there is potential to this, but I'm obviously
I'm kind of happy
thrilled.
for him. Good Canadian boy, gonna get a singles run hopefully.
Yeah, that's true.
Near the top of the card, maybe.
Just from the view of a Undisputed Era fanatic,
True.
this sucks.
They are disintegrating before your eyes.
They had a good run, and I think
Amazing
we can all appreciate
all-time
that.
run for NXT.
So
really.
yes, good for O'Reilly, and
Not great for Jack.
no, but at the same time, I would like to see him succeed.
Yep.
So good and bad for me, I guess.
So Regal announces a gauntlet eliminator for the number one contendership. I described it basically as a mini Ultima Lucha from
Aztec
Lucha
Warfare.
Underground, but you were going to explain the rules for us.
So I wrote down the rules as they were there, so I just
We
wrote
paused
them down.
on it so you could get it down. So what are they?
So 2 men will start in the ring, and every 4 minutes, another competitor will enter the match. The only way to be eliminated is via pinfall or submission. The last man standing will be the number one contender to the NXT title and will face Finn Balor at the next NXT TakeOver.
Right. So a stolen idea from Lucha Underground, but it's a good idea. We were talking
Lucha
about
Underground's not exactly prominent.
Thriving? No,
or
they don't
even
exist.
around.
But we were talking about, I was explaining to Jack Watt earlier, sort of off mic, why I liked it, because sometimes the Royal Rumble gets cluttered full of guys, right? And all they're really doing is punch, punch, kick, kick, because you can't leave the ring or you're eliminated. So in this...
And it's risky going to the top.
Right.
You but it's risky.
In this, it's the same idea, but you have to be eliminated by pinfall or submission, so that opens the door
maybe
for...
when I'm using my figures, maybe we'll do this instead of a Royal Rumble.
It opens up lots of opportunity for high-risk things. People can fight outside the ring. It makes a lot more space and a lot more high risk. I found it way more interesting. The first couple Ultima Luchas of Lucha Underground are fantastic. I think
the
that's
match
what they
itself
called it.
is Aztec Warfare, right?
Yes, sorry, that's what I'm thinking of. The Ultima Lucha was the show, and Aztec Warfare is the match. You're right.
Yep.
Even though you don't watch Lucha Underground, you know more details than I do.
I just remember you telling me,
but it's amazing. I think I got you to watch maybe the first.
No,
one
I've seen one. Yeah, I remember.
I tend to take stuff and watch this. It's amazing.
What was Jeff Cobb's character?
Matanza.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I remember that was when he was
remember how they did such a good job of filming him and making him look huge, because in reality he is not a tall person at all, but they made him look like he was like 6.5 feet tall.
Unless because I did find it out, but I would have never guessed that was Jeff Cobb.
They did such a good job of filming it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get a reminder of the Women's Battle Royal next week for the number one contendership, and then we move into our main event, which is Timothy Thatcher versus Damian Priest. So I really like the contrast in these two characters. They've been building sort of... Priest has developed more for me and has more of a character now, where he's this party guy and he doesn't necessarily need to work too hard to beat people. And then you've got Thatcher, as we've talked about. He's the classic guy that takes his job far too seriously, and he resents the attitude of Damian Priest not taking it seriously enough.
Which is an interesting take for Priest's character.
I like it.
No, I don't think it's bad. I think it is good, but it's just very different from when he debuted in
Yes,
NXT.
he was all serious, seemed very much a heel.
he even debuted as Punishment Martinez.
Yes.
So
Thatcher tries to get Priest's arm while kneeing him in the midsection. We get an arm drag by Priest, and they sort of stare each other down. Side headlock and roll-up attempt by Priest, quickly followed by another arm drag. Thatcher with the headlock takedown, and he sort of holds on to the headlock. Shoulder tackle exchange, and Priest knocks down Thatcher. Priest sells his forearm is hurt, and he gets kicked by Priest outside, and Thatcher sends Priest into the steps, and then a double underhook suplex on the floor, which looked pretty nice and painful.
Yeah, suplexes whenever they land on the floor, it's never the most audible sound, but you can just hear the thump on the mat.
It sounds great. It sounds like it kills. Back from the commercial with Thatcher in control on the mat, we get a knee to the side for a 1 count by Thatcher. Strikes by Priest and a big chop from Thatcher. Punches, forearms, kicks, and a clothesline by Priest. leaping back elbow, and a falcon arrow with the almost like threw him on the release a little bit.
Yeah,
for 2 by Priest.
chucked him a little too far.
Kicks to Thatcher's head. Thatcher avoids a leaping move by Priest and tries to gain control of Priest's arm. They're both back to standing. We get forearms and knees. Thatcher gets Priest's left leg and eventually puts him in a single leg crab. Priest escapes, hits a back elbow, but gets caught in an armbar. Priest uses his length to get to the ropes with his feet. We get a double underhook countered into a flatliner and a sit-out chokeslam that looked pretty good by Priest. And then a kick to Thatcher's head, a top rope spinning heel kick that was pretty impressive from Priest, and he hits the Reckoning for the win.
I like the Reckoning because I talked to you about this, but it's the same move as the Crossroads. But he kind of like Cody turns like one way a bit and then goes quick the other way, but the Reckoning, it's like a sweeping motion.
Yeah.
It just looks like more smooth and just like
Smooth and
clean.
quicker a little bit. Yeah. It looked good. What'd you think of the match?
I thought it was good. A real clash of styles. Just the strong and kind of fast Priest versus, well, Thatcher with his mat-based submission, limb targeting style. So, yeah, it was good. It was a solid main event choice, but it don't got nothing on the parking lot brawl.
Fair enough. I like this match. You were kind of early to the party on Priest. He is starting to grow on me with this character development. He seems
I love his entrance.
He seems a little bit more comfortable. He's showing a bit more personality. The only issue, it's not an issue. The only thing I think is he, to me, reeks of main roster and that he won't be at NXT very long. He's got the size. He's starting to develop an interesting character. He can wrestle various styles, so I don't think he'll stay there very long.
That's gonna be a shame because they'll probably ruin him. Look at Keith Lee.
Basically, as soon as I start to really like him, they'll yank him. I have a feeling he just has that look that he won't stay in NXT.
They'll try to get you to like him, and as soon as you almost do, then they're gonna make you hate him.
Because I don't know why I feel this way. I feel like Vince doesn't really watch this show, but he'll see little bits and pieces, and he'll just be like, look at that guy. He's big, right? And he has a cool look. But anyways, we'll see.
Nice impression.
Yeah, that's my Vince. Sorry. So overall, your thoughts on the show? Grades?
B.
Wow, you're generous. I didn't think this was very good, and maybe it's just because I'm comparing it to AEW and grading on a curve, but too bad.
B-.
I enjoyed the championship matches, but pretty much everything else felt a bit like a chore to me. So I gave it a C+, which isn't great.
That's fair. I never really am excited to watch NXT.
Yes.
Except for maybe Super Tuesday 2. That was like...
Well, and as a person watching you watch it, I can see, like, AEW, you're engaged and you're watching and taking notes, and if you miss something, you want me to go back to it, whereas NXT, you're kind of, like, sort of paying attention. No, you're not asking me to go back and see very much. So.
Unless it's something you said was stupid and I wanted to see it so then I can laugh.
So it's kind of interesting. I get to see your engagement level, and I can tell right away which show you liked better. But I think it's pretty much a no-brainer this week. If anyone comes out and tells me NXT was better than AEW, I will tell you.
I would say, you're a stupid
You're
liar.
an NXT mark, as they say, right? Like, you're just going to like them no matter what. So not a great show, but anyways.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, so... Any other wrestling business? I think I'm going to cut some of my any other wrestling business out because I watched a lot of wrestling this week.
I would just say pick which one was better, which I think is obvious.
Yeah.
Because you covered two things. But I'm just going to go. I don't have much, so.
Yeah, go ahead. Take one.
Keith Lee's now wearing a weird singlet.
I heard. I haven't seen it, actually. I heard someone else talk about it.
It's like one of those singlets where it's like... So it's got the straps, and it's like a little lower, kind of like what Rey Mysterio wears.
So the people I heard
There's the one guy, like that bald guy who's backstage a lot?
Yes.
He was like trying to separate Keith Lee from him. He's like literally holding his boob.
So I heard that
I've seen the picture.
They didn't want to sound like they were body shaming Keith Lee because he has looked good in some other outfits before, but they thought these were not a flattering look for him.
Yeah, the singlet's even weirder.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like it better because it's more wrestling than just that top, but
and
still.
Keith Lee's good, man, so hopefully it doesn't hurt him.
Retribution cuts promo and people figure out some of the identities. Mia Yim, Martinez,
right. Dijakovic, I think.
Stupid Dio Madden.
I
don't like him. He was a commentator on Raw a while ago, and then Brock Lesnar beat him up.
So nobody big enough to really excite you, right? Like, it's just kind of whatever.
Dio Madden does not excite me any bit.
No.
Then Seth Rollins attacks Murphy on Raw after a screw-up in the steel cage match against Dominic Mysterio. Rollins did win by pinfall, but Murphy was going to slam the cage door on Dominic. I guess he accidentally hit Rollins. And Rollins sent him in the barricade in the cage after attacked him. And I think it's Aliyah Mysterio checked on him after. The daughter.
Yeah. Sounds great.
why are the Mysterios still here?
Yeah, I'm not watching too much main roster. We just tried to watch some
And
SmackDown.
then SmackDown, Alexa Bliss weird storyline.
Yeah,
you were actually
possessed
watching this
by Bray Wyatt or whatever it is.
I think it's fine if they're gonna do a change of character, but the way they go about it is so stupid.
It's almost made me cringe, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I guess.
and then Otis being sued by Miz and Morrison for his main bank contract, blah blah blah. This is dumb too.
And carrying a lunchbox around with them or whatever, like, come on.
Because he left the contract in there, and then his
right.
lunch and the Money in the Bank.
He's
briefcase.
a big boy. He likes to eat. Good one.
Just cover your thing already.
All right, so the thing I do want to focus on in any other wrestling business is Ring of Honor, because it's back.
Impact. I'm kidding.
And as we talked about last week or week before, or maybe multiple weeks, we talked about how we were hoping that they would use this extended break to basically reboot the entire show. You had told me that they were bringing back this Pure Championship, but other than that, I really didn't know anything that was going on or what to expect. So I tuned in, and they did exactly what we wanted, or I wanted them to. So this will not be the show for everybody. If you are a fan of sports entertainment, this is not for you. This is them treating this as if it's real. That really will bother some people. I'm ready for something different.
If you want sports entertainment, get out of town.
So I was open to it. The show was completely different from their previous offering before the pandemic and they shut down. And I, for one, thought it was amazing and I loved it. So the entire episode was centered around introducing this tournament for the Pure Championship. They focused on the history of the title and reintroducing or introducing every single competitor. So all 4 competitors on the show, they all get lengthy packages, literally starting out from my name is this and here's my history and how I got here and why this championship's important. Everything I thought was done really well. Starts out with Quinn McKay. She does a really good job to start the show explaining the rules and the draw for this tournament, as well as laying out the stringent safety precautions they're taking, which I appreciated. Instead of like WWE acting like Corona doesn't exist, right? They're actually starting their rebooted show saying, here's how we're making sure our people are safe. So I thought that was cool.
Yep.
Her character, I thought, has been dialed back a bit for this new version of the show. A lot of people were, especially Dalton Castle when we get there. So she's a little bit more serious other than the wardrobe she was wearing. And I thought she did a really good job. So basically it's a 16-man single elimination tournament with some unique rules, right? So I was telling you these, but only 3 rope breaks per wrestler. How do you feel about that?
Considering this is a wrestling tournament, interesting. I'm not sure how I'd feel on this. I guess I'd have to see more before I say anything.
I think it'll be, you're right. It's sort of, it'll be like, how do they use this, right?
It's intriguing.
So you get 3 rope breaks per wrestler,
Kinda
and then after that,
choices of when you want to use them.
After that, you can apply a submission in the ropes. You can do whatever, and the rope break will not be granted. So you get no punches to the head. You get 1 warning, and then you get a DQ and no low blows. You can punch anywhere else on the body. There's a judge's decision if the matches go the time limit. The time limit gets longer each round of the tournament, I think ending with the finals being a 60-minute time limit. And any wrestler interfering, if another wrestler in the tournament comes down and interferes in any way, they're removed from the tournament. They actually have alternates for this tournament as well in case there's injuries or people being removed. So that's kind of interesting.
If you're an alternate, though, you must feel kind of crappy because it'll be like, you weren't good enough to be in the tournament, but if somebody does something dumb, you're in.
So that's how old UFC used to work back before they had weight classes and rules and stuff, because they would fight all of the matches in like one day. So there would be people getting injured frequently, so they would put in the alternates. So they're trying to make this sound as realistic as possible, right? Which
is always worth a try.
Absolutely. Some people won't like, although most Ring of Honor fans, that's what they're looking for, I think, is the more hardcore wrestling, but we'll see.
Well, Ring of Honor was at its peak, kind of trying to draw them back.
They're trying to get back to that, right? With the Daniel Bryans and the CM Punks and all that kind of wrestling. Mm-hmm. So the first package we get is of Jay Lethal, him sitting on a chair in an empty gym. And he cuts an amazing, serious promo, and I'm not the biggest fan of Jay Lethal. I thought this was terrific. He literally introduces himself, summarizes his history in wrestling, talks about the importance of this title and how much he's learned from Samoa Joe. I thought it was amazing. It was like 3 or 4 minutes, and I assumed that by giving him so much attention in this promo and that the promo was done so well, it sort of made me assume that he was going to win the match. And then Dalton Castle cuts what I thought was an even better promo in a similar style package.
Right.
But much more zoomed in on him and 2 camera angles cutting back and forth to make it feel a little bit different from Lethal's. So he goes over his immense amateur wrestling background, like from age 11, which I really had no idea about him. And just because he's the peacock doesn't mean that he's not dangerous. And again, his character is really subdued, but it's still kind of quirky and just odd enough that I found it really interesting and really liked it. And so after these two amazing packages, I was honestly psyched for this match, and I didn't know who was going to win. So we get Lethal and Castle. I'm not going to go move by move. This was a solid match with Lethal targeting Castle's leg and Castle hitting a variety of suplexes. Lethal ends up winning with a really nice lethal injection shortly after Castle's weakened leg leads him to not get all of his bangerang finisher, which I thought was good. It was this story of his leg is weakened, he goes for his finisher, he doesn't hit all of it, and then that's when Lethal kind of got his finisher. So nice. A really solid opener to this tournament, and I'm loving Dalton Castle this way. It's just too bad he's out of the tournament now because his character was awesome. Mm-hmm. So then we get a Wheeler Yuta package, who I didn't know. So he starts out his package. He's super nervous. You can hear his voice shaking, but he does get better as he goes. He's really young and is trained with Drew Gulak and all over the place, including Michinoku Pro and WXW, which are some pretty big promotions in Japan and I think Germany.
Is WXW one of the ones that WWE incorporated?
Yes, and I think it's in Germany.
Yeah, I think so.
He considers his style, which I thought was cool. He's a decoder. So he will intensely study his opponents and find ways to use their style to his advantage. He admits that Grisham is great, who he'll be facing, but he's likely overlooking Yuta and Yuta's advantage, and that he'll use that to his advantage. I thought this was another really good package introducing a new young talent that I've never even heard of before. So he gets the same treatment as established stars in this new system, and I think that's really cool. His package was just
not favoring anybody.
Right. Then we get Gresham's package. He's been wrestling since 2004 all over the world. He loves ROH and wants to stay here. He says he was the one pushing for this tournament to come back, and he feels like it's kind of his tournament.
Who, sorry?
Gresham, Jonathan Gresham.
Right.
So he's
tagging with Lethal.
He's currently tag team champions with Lethal, so he thinks that it's going to end up with himself and Lethal in the finals because they're in opposite sides of the brackets, and he is very seriously saying he will forsake his tag team and their championships for this pure title. It's so important to him. I thought this was another... Right, that was a nice touch. And you add that with the fact that when he comes out, he doesn't even bring the tag belt with him, and the commentators draw attention to that. Like, he's not even bringing it with him.
Yeah, and I saw Lethal's entrance. He did, right? So.
Yes. Another really good package here introducing Gresham to any new viewers. All four of these packages were excellent and added a lot to each wrestler and subsequently each match because you feel like you've gotten to know these wrestlers, so you actually want to see them wrestle and see what happens. Mm-hmm. So Gresham and Wheeler. Gresham does not even bring his tag belt, as I said. At one point, he applies a death lock and Yuta earns a rope break, but Gresham can't unhook their legs. I don't know if he was doing it, acting like he couldn't or actually couldn't. So basically, he goes longer than the 5 count. The ref comes over and has to sort of help him untangle their legs. So Yuta is angry at this point, right? Because he didn't break the hold when he was supposed to. It probably went longer than the 5 count. So then when he gets up, he uses his one free punch to drive Gresham right in the face, which I thought was a cool touch, right? Like if you're going to sort of quote unquote cheat a little bit by not breaking, I'm going to use my one punch on purpose. So he does. Gresham is terrific, and the decoder looked really good too, and it was believable as this guy cracking his opponent's code, like looking for counters and using the guy's style against him. Mm-hmm. There's a rollout to the floor while they're locked up that looked cool, and once back inside, Gresham grabs Yuta's ankle. Yuta's face down on the mat, and all Gresham does is violently lift this guy's knee and bash it into the mat repeatedly until Yuta taps. So that is not his normal finisher. He's usually an octopus finisher. So again, it's this more realistic that you're going to take the win however you get the win. You're not always going to set up for your finisher. Another good match. The two worked really well together, and Yuta has got some exposure, and he's a talented kid. Mm-hmm. Overall, I know you didn't really see the show. You watched a little bit of it. This show is amazing, but if sports entertainment's what you're into, then it is not the show for you, probably. It's treated as a really serious, very real tournament. I thought both matches were good to very good. The video packages were fantastic. Quinn was good at the start. The rules are kind of unique and cool. The commentary was fine. So this show I thought was an A as well. This was an A show for me.
Yeah, I know that's good for you because I know you used to like Ring of Honor.
I used to love it, and it's been unwatchable. We said before we've checked in on it, right? And it's just been not anything we could watch. So ROH used this time off to hit the reset button, and the result, at least in episode 1, was excellent, and I highly recommend it, and I look forward to watching the next episode. And your yawn right there is interesting because my next thing was Impact, which I don't even... I watched and took notes, but I really don't want to do too much because we're already at...
Just do results.
So The only decent thing really was there was a pretty decent tag match with Kimberly and Perazo versus Kylie Ray and Susie. But Josh Matthews kind of ruined that as well because he just keeps pointing, oh, look, she might be turning into Su Yung. Oh, look, she's back to... Instead of just letting us observe this girl
that feels
this
WWE
woman's story.
to me.
She's doing a pretty good job of acting it, but he's there telling us, and it was really annoying.
That feels kind of WWE to me.
Yes. Triple XL defeated the Deaners in an unspectacular match, sort of a callback to stuff that was going on in Wrestle House that no one cared about. Trey Miguel of the Rascals and TJP. So Trey won the match, and there was lots of counters and stuff, but my thing was like there were so many counters and reversals. Some of them looked really rehearsed and contrived, and I didn't really like it. So basically, I don't know, Rich Swann tried to come out and beg to be reinstated to fight Eric Young. I thought he did not do a great job. He was trying to sound so serious and sincere and emotional, but I really didn't buy it because nothing about this retirement seemed really believable.
Yeah.
Myers and Mac had their third match again. Myers was trying to cheat, but it didn't work, and Mac ends up winning, so it looks like it's going to continue.
I don't know, like what we were talking with Pete Dunne earlier, he doesn't need to retire because he's young or whatever.
No, it wasn't believable, so the return isn't believable and didn't do anything for me.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Grace, Tennille Dashwood's being set up. Kiera Hogan actually beat Taya. The point is Taya's distracted because Rosemary didn't come to ringside because Rosemary's too busy planning the wedding, and it looks like Taya's going to sort of get annoyed by Rosemary and Johnny planning this wedding and sort of neglecting her, so we'll see where that goes. The 8-man tag at the end saw Ace Austin steal the win from the North after he sort of had like a signature spam by everybody at the end of the ring, and now there's tension between the North and Ace Austin. I don't know, man. That's the only interesting thing in this show to me. There's talented wrestlers on this program, right? But the storylines are not interesting. You're not going to like it, but the only storyline I'm interested in is with Rohit, who you're not a fan of. But he's doing this cool thing where he's saying he's going to give everybody a chance, but in reality, he's not giving anyone a chance. Because when he says, I'm going to be the guy that gives everyone an opportunity, so then there's like 3 guys that want an opportunity. So what does he do? He's like, well, how can we decide? You guys need to have a number 1 contenders match. So he keeps putting it off, right? By saying everybody has a chance. But wait, now that everyone's here, we have to decide. So he keeps putting off his championship match for number 1 contender matches. So I kind of like that. And then you had more of Moose is looking for EC3, and he's complaining that he's being stalked and D'Amore is too busy to care. And then Moose calls Jericho for advice. That was this
Jericho?
Yeah, so he's like, I'm going to call, because he's the wrestling god, so I'm going to call the demo god or whatever. And then, so he doesn't say it's Jericho, but he clearly, and then at the end he says, the next bottle of the bubbly's on me or something. So it was this. They're trying to get some attention based off of this, I guess. I don't know.
I don't think that's the right way to go, though, because that could cause some trouble.
So not a great show. Maybe a C. Storylines are not interesting, despite there being some good talent. The empty arena certainly doesn't help. Josh Matthews was really annoying to me this week, and I may not even review it next week. If I watch it, I will definitely do ROH instead, and we'll see where we go from there.
Nice.
And then the only other thing I wanted to say was I watched, oh my God, what's it called? That I just said was the combination
United Wrestling Network Live.
Right.
Thing.
So there's
NWA, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
So basically the 3 little shows I used to watch on my own, which was Championship Wrestling from Arizona, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and NWA, they've sort of all merged and put out one large program. So I watched the first episode of that, and it's okay. It's nothing I'm going to review, but if you're looking for more wrestling where you might see people that will be stars of the future, you can check that out. It is it's out there, not hard to find.
It's out there.
Anything else for that?
No.
You're losing steam, buddy. That was a lot of me talking,
just
sorry. So that will move us into our last segment of the show, where Jack takes a few minutes to talk about one of his passions, which is the world of collecting action figures. So this is Figuring It Out with Jack. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So there was some stuff that we just got put up on Ringside. So we got WrestleMania 37 Heritage Basic Series revealed, and it's up for pre-order. The lineup's revealed. It's going to be The Fiend, which looks to be from WrestleMania 36, because that's the only WrestleMania he's been at. Drew McIntyre from WrestleMania 36. I can tell from the image that they use on because they do the complete set of 4 that you could order. They just put the images for now, so I think it's WrestleMania 36 Drew McIntyre from when he won the title this year.
Right.
We have Ricochet from WrestleMania 35. That's his only WrestleMania. And then Andrade, I couldn't tell at first because it was either he was in Andre Battle Royal last year or he had a tag title match with. No, he wasn't at WrestleMania this year. Never mind. So, but I knew it was WrestleMania 35.
You don't remember anything
Because there's fans in the picture, so it's WrestleMania 35.
That's a tip-off that it was not 2020.
Yep. Ultimate Edition 7 is up for pre-order. It includes the Fiend Bray Wyatt with, he has an alternate head sculpt. I think the Fiend belt, which will be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'll be cool to see.
And Hollywood Hulk Hogan, which is, for those of you who don't know, back in I think in 2015, they revealed an Elite Hollywood Hogan figure, and everybody was going crazy for it. It's going to come out, I think, January 2016. Then the Hulk Hogan scenario happened.
Yep.
And it got canceled.
He's a dirtbag.
So now we're finally getting at least something resembling that in the Ultimate Edition. I think Ultimate Edition is the way to go. People have been wanting this figure for so long. Ultimate Edition is where you're going to get the most out of this, right?
Yes.
Alternate heads, alternate hands.
It's the one the collectors probably want the most, right?
Right. And then we got WrestleMania 37 Celebration Series is up for pre-order. These are, so we got Macho Man and Andre the Giant, both from WrestleMania 3. These are both basics, but they also come with the ring carts that they used to use for entrances.
Yeah, they're iconic
which I really
ring
like.
carts. Yeah,
so I do want to get the Andre one because I do have a Macho Man Elite already, but I don't have Andre. Sorry,
right.
I almost said Andrade.
And I like the ones where the body molds are unique, right? So Andre's probably is, I would assume.
Yeah.
There's not many like him.
And just the one strap singlet is different.
Yep.
Because I feel like I could use that for a King of the Ring thing. But I think this is interesting. I'm interested to see the packaging, how they'll package a basic just with this. I thought this was going to be a battle pack with the ring cart, but it's actually just 2 basics. And so if you wanted to, you could get 2 ring carts. So
that's cool.
Not bad.
Those are neat.
Rowdy Piper versus Mr. T Elite 2-pack is up for pre-order. We already knew about this. We have computer-generated images.
Right.
But the 2-pack is based off of the boxing match from WrestleMania 2.
Cool.
So another Mr. T figure because they just did that Comic-Con exclusive, so I guess they're finally got, maybe he's agreed to it or something, so they're going to kind of cash in on that.
I assume he's still alive? I don't actually know.
I don't know.
Probably.
And then we have Elite Top Picks 2021 package and loose images. So we do have a new packaging design for this series, and it's now on new in stock on Ringside, so you can go buy them if you want. So it's got the white and red color scheme rather than the red one we kind of had earlier. On Elite 71 and down, I think from Elite 63, they had the white, it was the rectangular shape,
right? But
white and red, and this is it's got that curve on the bottom. Cool. Anyways, and it's also got this certified authentic thing on the front, and it's got a WWE silver sticker thingy. Anyways, we got, the series is a little disappointing to me because, we got the Fiend Bray Wyatt, which is a direct re-release of the SummerSlam one that just came out.
Right. Lazy.
Kofi Kingston, which is a new figure. It's Royal Rumble 2020, I believe, attire. Blonde hair, so finally getting that. The Roman Reigns from SmackDown, I think September 24th, 2019. Direct re-release of the Roman Reigns that literally just came out in Elite 79.
Yeah.
But this one to me is very annoying because this figure literally just came out in the core line.
It's basically the same one again.
Right away. And the same thing happened last year with Braun Strowman. They just released Elite 68 Braun Strowman, which was the SummerSlam series. And then in the top picks, boom, right there, And then the last one is Drew McIntyre, which is a re-release. But this one actually makes sense. This McIntyre, the re-release is disappointing, but this is the same as Elite 71, where it comes with the coat and the alternate head. I think the only thing you're missing compared to that one is the Raw tag title, but that's not. It comes in a lot of figures. But because this figure, the original Elite 71 one, or Elite 71 figure, that just sounds weird, was going for insane eBay prices, so this is actually probably good for people. I would like to get this because I think the alternate head will be useful.
Yep.
And the True Effects, because the one I have is the Takeover one, but I think they hadn't done True Effects fully yet.
So the face scan isn't as good?
It's still good. It does look like him, but the beard is I don't know. It does look better on this, yeah.
Right.
But so this series is a little disappointing, but the Kofi's nice and McIntyre's nice to get again because, like I said, this was a rare figure, I guess. But they're also just we've had revealed recently was the Survivor Series. That's oh my god, that's coming out.
Yeah.
And Drew McIntyre, it's different trunks because it's based on Survivor Series, but it does have the same head scan, so it's like almost the same figure because Drew McIntyre's attires are, oh my god.
What is happening here?
Are very similar. It's just like more the color of the logos or like the logos themselves. Unless it's like white trunks, they look generally the same. So if it's not a different head scan, they look pretty similar. But just some new stuff, nothing much.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah.
So great little segment. All right, so that brings us to the end of episode 9 of the FNS Wrestling Podcast. As always, thanks to anyone who took the time to listen to us sit and chat wrestling for a couple of hours. We are now officially on Spotify, if that is your weapon of choice. As
announced on our Instagram profile, if you follow us.
You can look for FNS Wrestling on Spotify, on Podbean, on YouTube, and also, obviously we are also on Instagram. If you'd like any updates, you can email us. We are fnswrestling@gmail.com. We've never had an email yet, so that would be cool to see. I keep checking somebody email something. And
FNS_wrestling_podcast on Instagram. Go follow us if you haven't already for these updates, because I think if you follow us on Instagram, you probably already know about the Spotify. So just stay tuned. I'll be able to let you know when the podcast is being worked on, when it's uploaded, and so if you want to stay tuned, that's a good way to do it.
Absolutely. So thanks again for all of our loyal listeners, and anyone that happens to be new, welcome. We're glad to have anyone, and we look forward to you listening to us, I guess would be the best way to say it, around the same time next week.
I just realized another way to stay notified would be to subscribe on YouTube.
That's true. Subscribe on YouTube. I'd love to see those numbers go up.
Yep.
So thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.